After Dark on the main. Welcome, everybody. Oh, shit, I forgot to take off the thing. See, I fucked it up already.
Fucking boomer.
All right, well, somebody's got their thing going in the background. Good evening, kids. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. As you know, or may not know, the Midnight's Edge After Dark is a totally different channel. So we'll bring that up a few times tonight for some newcomers who may not be aware of that. So if our mods are listening right now, please share out the Midnight's Edge After Dark stream along with all of our illustrious guests so that we can get people to know where to go if the strike ever gets lifted and or after my week of being in YouTube jail is up. But that's the case. The channel was struck the other night, presumably false flagged into a strike because it wasn't a copyright strike. It was a community guideline strike claiming it was spam and some other bullshit.
Misleading practices, which could be technically anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were misleading people about, seeing as they were singing songs and entertaining the folks.
Yeah, I was singing a few songs with Culture Casino, who may join us here in a bit. But speaking of joining, we have up front, until others get here, Mr. Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. I had a nice leisurely day. I did a morning stream. I streamed some games. I'm going to do a table read after this.
I heard. Nice full day you're going to do an X-Files on your channel since you can't do it on my channel.
Yeah.
So check that out later. Maybe I'll hop in there. I'm not sure yet. I haven't really got a chance to even look at the script.
That's why you ever sent it to me. Of the thumbnail.
There you go. But I might try to hop in with that. And then we also have with us up front here the one, the only Mexican Iron Man super producer, sir.
Super Mexican, American, America. Rabbit chicken rancher.
This is true. This episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark is brought to you by our biggest sponsor yet from Mexican Iron Man brand. That is the Rabbit Chicken. Do you like rabbit? Do you like chicken? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have both at the same time but can never find both at the same place? Well, Disney and Shang-Chi have taken care of that for you. That's right. You can get yourself rabbit chicken meat, now available at every Walmart and Costco. What you waiting for? Move your feet and get some rabbit chicken meat. It's good.
I don't know who built that prop, but they suck.
Hey, let's focus on the excellent job Tom did being the narrator and producing that amazing commercial.
Oh, yeah, the commercial is of higher quality than the prop.
Jesse, I want to make sure that I get you early on the website to do a great 5-star review of rabbit chicken meat.
I don't have to eat it.
No, you just have to do it in the kitchen and give me a 5-star review. I don't care if you eat it or not. You just gotta, make it look like you're cooking in your kitchen back there.
What's the recommended internal temperature for something like that?
I don't know. This is a brand new world for me. I don't even know these things. It doesn't matter. Just give me I'm going to be like most YouTubers. Just give me a 5-star review and call it a day.
True.
And don't remember to share and like your rabbit chicken.
See, it doesn't even look like they bothered painting the ears. It looks like they casted them out of plaster or something and just left it.
Well, look here.
Shit.
Look. I can't make any representations to what Marvel Studios may or may not have done in their infinite laziness in terms of putting together that movie. But all I can tell you is this: is that here in South Carolina at the Rabbit Chicken Farm, you can be assured of 100% grade AAA quality in your rabbit chicken. Yes, sir, Bob. And for those of you that like the lady rabbit chickens, you can sponsor your very own Rabbit Chicken Bonnet of the Month Club, where your female rabbit chicken will come with a different bonnet every month. Yep.
I just feel bad that your farm got saddled with being associated with this movie. I mean, now you're stuck with this product.
I'm just the real silencing of the rabbit chicken came when someone decided to false flag MEAD.
Oh, I know.
That was like our #1 distribution channel for rabbit chicken entertainment. I mean, I was going to I had a proposal ready for Tom about how MEAD, Midnight's Edge After Dark, was going to be repurposed as Rabbit Chicken Multimedia Global Enterprise. I'm kidding. I'm just making shit up.
Stephen Otten sent in $5. Says, "Hail, Tom, Mike, Jesse, Wrenches, and chat. Can't stop the signal. No, you can't. That's right. But do make sure to subscribe to Midnight's Edge After Dark if you have not yet. Hopefully, some more people will show up here soon, and the alerts went out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I got a report. Somebody who has seen No Time to Die. I don't know if this individual wants me to say who they are, so I'm not going to say who they are.
I feel bad for that person.
Actually, they said this: not overly woke, entertaining as hell. And I trust this person's opinion, by the way. Only a few cringe lines. Could say more, but holding back. My theory is they hired Phoebe to write a few choice lines to inoculate themselves against any Me Too criticism. All this has been overblown by the press. Thankfully, Bond is not emasculated. Bond schools her favorite Daniel Craig Bond yet of this individual and stay till the end of the credits.
Did he bang her?
I don't know, but my
Because
response,
if he didn't, he's not Bond.
My response was, so the reshoots helped.
But one of the things we talked about on one of the recent shows is the possibility that could be sort of a Rise of Skywalker situation where they've got a bunch of different shots and a bunch of different reshoots. And I'll tell you this much: they had plenty of time to decide what they were going to release and when they were going to release it. So whatever they're doing, whatever they chose to release, that is, in my opinion, a barometer / thermometer as to where things are at and where they might be going. So if it's less woke, that's an optimistic sign. If it's I think if it's completely woke, everybody's going to lose their absolute mind. I think this is just going too far if they had gone that way.
And actually, that's a good place to segue into our first story of the evening.
Woohoo!
Well, we could go two places with this. Let's go. Considering what I just said,
I'm feeling useful, Tom. I feel like I'm earning my place on the right cushion of the left side of the couch today. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll
like
see.
Metatron. That's a Bible
joke. What the individual I just brought up was talking about specifically. Let's go there first. That would be this new headline that's been hopping everywhere today about Phoebe Waller-Bridge was not only just writing stuff, she helped shape the plot, the whole plot. So maybe I think this is what this individual is talking about. Because this headline hit today, and it was like, oh god, this after all the other shit that was said this week. Go ahead, Chess. You're about.
I hope it's not woke, but even if it's not woke, I still don't care, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I never have. I saw the first movie he was in. I thought it sucked ass. It was boring as shit. The guy has absolutely zero charisma, zero personality. He does nothing. He just stands there. It looks like a stone. Like. I don't understand the appeal here. I mean, James Bond is the most charismatic son of a bitch on the planet. That's why he gets half of the shit done he does. He talks his way in and out of things. This guy, I wouldn't tell this guy my Wi-Fi password. I don't get it. I mean, even Timothy Dalton was a better Bond than this guy.
Jesse?
That's my problem.
You know I love you and you're my brother, right? Well, I actually like Daniel. I actually always enjoyed Craig as James Bond.
What is it about him?
I don't know. I just do. I don't know what, I've had that question asked to me many, many times by hardcore Bond fans, and I'm not quite sure. I really need to reflect on that and meditate.
Could you describe his personality to me?
Well, I don't know if he has one.
Exactly. That's my problem.
Look, don't shoot the messenger because it's Diversity, Inclusion, Hispanic Heritage Month. So that's all I got to say.
Well, that's why they had to include the one white guy left in Hollywood. That's not true. I just had to say something that was funny. But, it's just like the guy does nothing for me. He's like a blank.
Well,
no bullet.
Maybe after years, after years of bondage, he's. Oh wait, that came out wrong. I didn't mean. Wait, I mean maybe after years of playing Bondiando.
That's the movie I want to see.
Look, everybody needs to learn how to tie a clove hitch.
He knows just how to make you. You know what? James Bondage.
He's
coming
license to till
this soon. Coming this soon.
Well, can I read that? Bypass YouTube surcharge and send your super chat directly to Tom without the YouTube taking 30 to 40%. Include a message and your handle, or if you're 6, include a massage and your handle.
Do you want me to read it as a pro?
Sorry, golly.
Well, no. Do you want me to do the commercial voice?
Do your Tom voice.
Bypass YouTube surcharge and send your super chat directly to Tom. Include a message in your handle.
Woohoo!
He said handy.
Handy? Is that the word used for 6? Handy?
No, I said
Get
she
it?
said handy.
Get it? Handy?
She's handy like a J.
What?
Hey, it's Trudeau.
What the hell does that mean?
Trudeau.
Trudeau. What?
Yeah. Whenever something's ass, you just say Trudeau. Trudeau.
Oh my god. Chef
invented that last night, and I'm keeping
it. What's so? Why are you so angry, Arturo? Yeah, and you can send a much longer message via PayPal as well. Yes, this is true. This is very, very true.
Love letters to Tom about his sexy bald head. As long as it comes with money, it's okay to stalk him. He might even write you back. Send a couple of pictures. You never know what's going to happen.
If you send me dick pics, I will decorate it and put it up online.
Well, like what? Googly eyes?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't do it,
Give
Tom.
It a little
you
scarf.
Can say no.
Maybe
give it a little scarf.
A superhero week, maybe.
Superhero week.
Got to find a big fat veiny one for the Hulk.
So this article that you have here,
do not send me dick pics, please.
So this article that you have here, where it says "No Time to Die" producer Phoebe Waller-Bridge helped shape the woke, not just a female writer. I think that's some major ass signaling. I mean, why do you need to write an article about something that? Why do you need to go there?
Well, and I think this is what
about the credits.
This is what I think the person I was just talking to about the movie was getting at, was that all this stuff is out there. They're virtue signaling, kind of like with the Dune stuff. Like the impression I'm getting is at least with the reshoots anyway, that the movie's decent. So, which is the first time I've ever heard that, but I trust this person's opinion. So I'm not going to say who they are because I don't know if they want me to. So I'll see if they're okay with it, but I don't know if they're available or not. Hang on. Oh, wow. Okay. He just told me something else. This big time spoiler.
I'm not going to see it. You can feel free.
No, I am going to see it, and he doesn't feel free.
Oh my God.
No spoilers.
Roger Moore was more believable than him.
Weird. Okay. Who wants the spoiler?
I got one vote for yes. He's got one vote for no.
If you tell Jesse, Jesse's going to say it because Jesse won't stop.
Yeah, I'll blurt that shit right out. Put it in the private chat and tell Mike not to read it.
No, it's actually not Robert Meyer Burnett, to be honest with you. I shouldn't even have said it wasn't, but
it could be.
It could very well be.
That's exactly what he would say if it was him.
Let's just say one of my early predictions is right.
Okay. That could be anything.
And 6 months membership. Well, thank you so much for being a member for 6 months. Got us a win. We appreciate that. Yes for one for you. Oh, we're talking about the chat here. I was going to put it in the private chat. We got a lot of ones already. Spoil it. Oh shit! I don't know if I should do that.
Mikey, go close your eyes and your ears and go.
If you're gonna spoil it, I'm literally gonna like mute and turn my mic off or something. But give me a warning if you're gonna do it.
Even if you do that, make sure you take your earbuds out.
That's what I meant, bro.
Okay.
No, boy, we got a lot of ones though.
Everybody wants it, but you're afraid to give it.
Well, I mean, I fucking knew it ready for it. Perhaps. Because I kind of knew this, but
damn, look at this crowd. This is a harsh crowd. I'm glad they're on our side.
All right, I guess, Mikey, when I put my hand down.
Yes.
That's when I'm done with the spoiler.
All right, wait. Okay, hold on. Mute.
Okay, everybody mute if you do not want to know.
Earbuds on the table.
Until I put my hand down. Okay? Good enough?
I solemnly swear.
Bond dies.
That's fucking stupid.
It's a spoiler.
Is it safe yet?
Yeah, it's safe.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
safe? Okay.
Bond gets money, Peggy.
Money Peggy.
Wait, what? What does that even mean?
Money Penny, man, his secretary. He gets pegged by Money Penny.
Okay. Now I got to do it because.
Wait, was that the spoiler? Or it's still.
I fucking knew it! Oh!
Oh shit!
But stay to the end credits. That's all I'm gonna say. Otherwise, so
All right.
yeah. All right.
I'm not even looking at the chat stream right now. Anybody's trying to send me a message on the chat stream, I'm not even looking at that because I don't even want to find out.
But
accident.
at least does sound like the reshoots helped, considering.
I even closed my chat stream.
His own clone.
So that's
that could happen.
Because the other part,
money pegged. Assholes.
I mean, if that was a spoiler, that would be like a spoiler, like, oh, Jesse Miller just went to the local cannabis
Money
club.
Penny pegs
Breaking
him.
news.
That's the spoiler.
Going tomorrow.
All right. Let me get this other story up here. Speaking of Bond, though, let's see here. Where'd you send it to me? Here it is. Where fuck is it? It was there. Here it is. Okay. I'm doing such a great job.
Okay, next time I'm logging in and I'm doing this for you.
I know, right? I need your help. It looks like, though, fucking Christ. No Time to Die is poised to do 90 million debut in its international box office. What do we think the odds of this are?
Low.
High.
Medium.
Okay, my number was actually not that I'm right because I usually get this crap wrong. Like I'm the worst person to do this, but I'm gonna go with 70 to 90. Maybe that's a little high. Maybe I should go 50 to 70.
Yeah, I'd tell you like 70, maybe 75.
All right, let's agree on 70 to 75, Jesse.
Yeah, because it's like Dune has already made like what 90 almost. This thing isn't good. It doesn't have that headway. Nobody cares about Bond anymore. It's old man shit to the kids. I mean, people our age or look at the chat. 111. Go ahead, say it. I'm not going to see it.
But what about when it says debut? Do they mean the opening weekend or the whole like week? Or
I think they mean up until it gets to America.
Huh. Then I'm definitely going to go with about. Let's go 70. Let's go 70, Jesse.
Yeah.
60 to 70. We'll go 60 to 70. That's our range. It's a big range, but so what? It's 10% margin of error, give or take.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. I think it's going to do about 65.
I mean, at least back when they had GoldenEye, I mean, the trailer had a tank smashing through a wall and then popping out like a boss and all this weird shit going on, you know? What are they going to have in this? A conversation? A boring conversation in the trailer? A car chase?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of curious.
Is a building going to blow up? Because, you know, that's fake tension.
I'm curious how this is going to play out now after hearing what I've been hearing. So, because if it is good and word of mouth gets around, it could go higher. Lindsay's where I'm at, 65. Joker says 75. Werewolf says 55 to 59. Stephanie's going high with 80.
Wow.
Well, it's about in the same range you said, Mike.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
you know, the only style of Bond film I could really see Daniel Craig in is something akin to From Russia with Love, where it's him pitted against somebody who is just as skilled as him and he has to physically fight them.
So, you know, this is a franchise I have zero real interest or not like self-investment in. I've only seen a couple of the movies, right? I'm just starting to get into it. And even just starting, like, I'm like, what, 5 movies in now, Mike? Something like that?
Oh, my God, bro. You got such a long way to go.
It's not captured. Like, if it was really sucking me in, I'd have just watched them on my own.
But you've seen Dr. No.
I've seen up through The next one I watch is the one where
Are you watching them in order?
Well, I'm watching the order that came out. Yeah,
Okay.
because I just watched the one with Lazenby.
Yeah, that one was boring.
I don't like that one. The only one I've really liked so far was the first one was okay, and then I really liked You Only
You
Live
say
Twice.
okay?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it from
You
a modern,
like You Only Live
both
Twice
modern
more than
perspective and a film perspective, and at the same time, it's
All
like
right,
I
let me
like
help you
it.
out. Did you
But
see Dr. No? Yes. You saw From Russia with Love? Yes.
yeah, it was all right.
Goldfinger, was it a
Yeah,
mess?
yeah, you
Better.
like
Goldfinger was better.
Goldfinger was a great villain.
And you saw Thunderball. It says you only live twice.
Thunderball was pretty decent, and
And
Only
guess
Live
what?
Twice
Guess
was
what?
really
When you
good.
get up to Never Say Never Again, you're going to get to watch Thunderball again
I know.
with different actors, and it makes no fucking sense. But whatever.
So, and then I got some people saying like Goldfinger and stuff like that's the best. So it's like if it goes downhill from here, shit.
Diamonds Are Forever was a fun ass movie, and then you go into a whole different style and a whole
Yeah,
different
Live and
era,
Let
so
Die
you hit
is a
Roger Moore.
totally different style.
It is very much so. It's more whimsical almost.
Well,
but
my motivation for watching him was to review him with Robert, because he wanted to see what it was like to somebody who sees him for the
Dude,
first
I've
time.
seen each of these movies 3 to 5 times each. You can watch them with me.
I know, but like I'm so far behind now. This movie comes out like what, this weekend? I ain't gonna be able to see it.
you're never gonna watch all of them. What you should do is
No.
watch a couple from each era.
I don't know.
I think
if I was you, dude, I would watch Moonraker. I would watch A License to Kill, A View to a Kill, Goldeneye, and that's it. You're done.
Wow. I
agree.
List. I agree, but yet I don't know. I love everything. This is one of those franchises where I seem to like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
You can watch For Your Eyes Only if you want to see how little Jane Seymour has changed in 40 years.
Yeah, she was so hot in that movie.
Mm-hmm. The first time I watched that when I was a teenager, I was like, she looks the same. And nowadays she looks slightly older, but still the same.
Oddly enough, I think the one I've seen like 10 times, the one I've seen the most is probably Moonraker.
I love Moonraker.
Really?
Yeah. I love the idea that this guy is a genetics freak and he's trying to take 16 couples, which is the bare minimum to not have inbreeding. So somebody researched that. But somebody like that's fucking insane. And he had like Elon Musk money. You know what I mean? And he was going to do this.
Right.
Welcome, Script Doctor.
He was going to destroy the world. Hello, Script.
How's it going?
Me and Jesse are fighting over like how many of the Bond movies are good movies, and he seems to think there's
essential.
Only 5.
No, I think that those 5 are essential. I mean, if I was to give somebody a quick course in Bond, watch these 5. Later on, when you have time, fill in the rest. But I like every Bond movie, almost. I didn't really like Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I didn't really like The Man with the Golden Gun. Beyond that, I enjoyed them all up until the end of the Brosnan era. And the last 2 or 3 Brosnan movies sucked. I like Terry Hatcher. I think she's hot. The movie she was in was garbage.
Tomorrow Never Dies, yeah.
Garbage.
I mean, if I don't sleep between now and this weekend, I suppose I could watch them all.
That'd be pretty tight.
And someone mentioned before about Bond girls, because I haven't seen no hot chicks in this movie. What's the deal with that? You got this one chick, and she looks kind of bitchy. She don't look like I'd approach her. It's a waste of time. But then again, he looks kind of bitchy, so they're probably together.
Oh, shit. It doesn't look like alerts probably went out, kids. So if you would hit that like and share button, we appreciate that quite a bit.
He looks bored. She looks annoyed. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, do me a favor. Everybody in chat, hit the like button if you don't mind. Help out Tom, help out Andre, help out the channel. My alert just came in 2 minutes ago. Odd.
Jesus. Awesome. Well,
I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how well this movie does. And I mean, I don't think I get to see it till when do I get to see it? October 8th, 7th? When is it?
I thought it come out this October 2nd, doesn't it?
Let me check. I think I bought a ticket like 2 weeks
I could
ago.
be wrong.
Let me go to my Fandango account. Let me see what Fandango is.
Maybe it isn't this weekend.
Might be. Friday, October 8th is the ticket that I bought.
Oh, okay, maybe it is next weekend. That's true because they just had the premiere. So yeah, it probably is next weekend. Yeah, you're right. So anyway, Script Doctor, you're the only one who hasn't chimed in here on. First of all, what do you think? Is this 90 million too high? Do you think it's about right? What do you think?
I think it's probably in the ballpark. I mean, Bond does do fairly well internationally for its opening weekend, even if the movie is not a great one. So I think again, it's brand over quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is an okay estimate, I would suppose. Especially given the fact that there's a lot of European countries that don't have as many restrictions for their theaters right as we speak today than they did a few weeks ago. So maybe this might be in the right area.
All right. It is the 8th, I think it comes out, yeah. The other thing I heard before you got here, because I doubt you heard it because you were busy. I know somebody who's seen the film, somebody whose opinion I think we all trust here, and they said it's actually good.
Oh,
it's not overly woke. I gave a few details, but other than that, I'm not getting into too much other than that. But yeah, so that's a good sign. So I said my response was, "Oh, so the reshoots worked."
that's why we have them. I mean, yeah. That's that. Hey, if that's good to hear. I will forever be fascinated by the original before the reshoots, of course, to see what was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool to hear.
So yeah, on that note, the other thing that's going on right now is the whole Spider-Man Doctor Strange lawsuit.
The characters, the family is a character creator estates, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that whole mess. What's going on there?
Well, this is a big. I'm going to be working on a video for this, but I don't know where to begin. Like a lot of this goes back to the original copyright law. Fuck, I don't want to. Son of a bitch, wrong one.
Guess what, Tom?
What?
I just upgraded my ticket, and I'm now seeing it Thursday right before next week's show.
Okie dokie, there you go.
There's a pre-screening the day before.
There you go. So you get to see it on Thursday. So we'll get to hear what you think of it. But yeah, so there's this whole business that's going on now. This all goes back to the copyright laws. They had not been changed since like 1909 until like 1977. And at that point, they did a big old overhaul, and it includes everything from movies to television to music, and I think even literature. I'm not even 100% sure on the literature part, but so anyway, basically, the gist of it covers everything from things that like the fair use law and things like that you hear quite often here on YouTube, but it also had a section of it where it covered copyright law or IP law, as far as like if you're a creator of something, and 35 years after you create something, you have the right to go back and reclaim it. There are some stipulations, and it's a bit convoluted, and it only happens to deal with U.S. copyright law. But basically, this is something we've seen already happen. We saw, James Cameron went and got the Terminator rights, but then he went and made a deal right back with the people who were already working on it, so it didn't really matter.
Oh, you're talking about rights retention after selling the rights.
35-year law. Yeah. Then you had Victor Miller sue to get the rights to Friday the 13th. He didn't get the name, but he got the rights to the story for the first movie and certain characters, including Mrs. Voorhees.
And I think his is on a state by state level too.
Yeah, that one's still even being appealed and stuff. So you have that one. This all goes way back, and one of the first of its kind was the Siegel and Schuster deal, and I think out of that they ended up with like Superboy and was it Crypto and a couple other things script, if I'm not mistaken, but they didn't get Superman, and I don't think they got Clark Kent and a few other things. But it all boils down to work for hire versus not work for hire. And
well, that has to do with Marvel Comics itself. Marvel Comics definitely had contracts with all their artists and writers that they were work for hire, and anything that they created was technically owned by the corporation, not by the person. And I think that was to circumvent the public domain laws at that time. As for stuff on Action Comics and Detective Comics, that was didn't quite have the work for hire. If my understanding of that is correct, these were done independently by the creators, and then with a kind of like a negotiation for publication through those companies. And I think that's because that's why we have the Siegel and Schuster deal, which is that they sold those to DC, and they sold those rights and some of the film rights off for about $20,000 each of them.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like 20 or 25, yeah.
Something of that nature. And then they were able to get those rights back just before the Superman movie was created, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least they were trying to negotiate a new payout.
That was the thing. They lost the court case, I think, outside of the few pieces they retained.
Yeah.
And then Donner was actually the one who insisted they get the created by credit on the film. Because before that, the only time they ever got credit, it was usually like, I believe it was based on the weekly comics or whatever, the daily strips written by Schuster and Siegel, not created by.
But it goes even deeper sometimes. Like Namor, like he's public domain, but you can't call him Tyrannus Rex. You can't use the Atlanteans. You can't use like half of the character. But let's say you did make a public domain version of this, right? Now you go through the story and you write your story, you make your story, you put out your story, and then everybody and their sister is going to try to come back on you saying that you're violating the things that weren't public domain because it's too close. It's just like that Friday the 13th lawsuit. You can't have one without the other. Are you going to do half of a Oreo cookie?
See, here's the thing with the Friday the 13th lawsuit that makes no sense to me is Paramount and Warner Brothers could have done tons of shit in the last few years that didn't even get close to encroaching on anything that Miller has the rights to. Because what it really boils down to is he has the rights to the original story idea, drowned young Jason, and Mrs. Voorhees. He didn't write anything about
it's only that. Because he came up with the name.
Yeah, and even then, he doesn't technically own Jason. He just owns a young Jason. See,
that's where they're splitting hairs. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is technically they can still do whatever the fuck they want with the regular Jason, because Hockey Mask Jason didn't come along until the third film. And he was not an adult within the confines of the first film. So there may be an argument. I don't know if Script knows anything about, like, there may be an argument to where they may not be able to actually use the Voorhees name per se, but they can call him probably Jason all day long. And they can use the name Friday the 13th because Victor didn't get that. See, Sean won that. So Sean retains everything from there on out. Like, he retains the music, the name, most of the characters, anything that was after the first film. But like Script said, there is some splitting hairs within the whole. Where does the line end between adult Jason and young Jason? See, and that's the thing is, as long as you don't refer to probably anything in Jason's past, or maybe, like I said, just lop off the Voorhees name, then you can probably get away with doing whatever the fuck you want, because then he can't do anything as long as you're not referring to his origin or anything like that. You know what I mean? As long as you don't mention Mrs. Voorhees, then you're probably fine.
Yeah, but they'll never do that in a movie now. You gotta have everything.
Not necessarily. I'm sure there's at least one or two Jason movies that don't mention Mrs. Voorhees.
Well, they don't need to mention Mrs. Voorhees. His name is Jason Voorhees. I mean,
that's my point.
Like part 2, they refer to him as Jason Voorhees. Part 3, did they refer to him by name?
They usually just call him Jason anyway. They hardly ever refer to the Voorhees portion unless it's for a reason. Because
they always retell the story of Camp Blood.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't even have to. Okay, here's how you start the movie. Just say that there's this. Actually, he might even have the rights to Camp Crystal Lake too. That's the other thing. So you can't call it
Evergreen Camp.
Yeah, I was gonna say they changed it in part 6 anyway. So all you do is you just open it up with the idea that just Jason has been this killer with a hockey mask that's been roaming around the lake for years. You can get away with that as long as you don't mention, he drowned in the lake, his mother killed counselors, who his mother is, that kind of a thing. You're fine.
Wait a minute, I'm confused.
Yeah, but if you didn't mention it, then you'd have to wrap it around where these people who don't know about Jason learn about Jason, so they figure out a way to try to defeat Jason. So you'd have to come into the backstory there. I mean, it's kind of unavoidable unless you just want a pointless
honestly,
cutting
Jason,
people up for 2 hours and then
you
it's
can
the
get
end for
away
no
with
reason.
a lot without mentioning any of his backstory. I bet.
No, you can't.
Script
As
doctor, help me out
a
here.
fan of this series, no, you can't. It will be trash.
Eh.
No, and it's because you don't like.
Do they mention it at all in part 3? I don't remember that.
Look, you don't.
They probably could
not
because
a
Get
there's not a
frustrated,
dispute
Jesse.
during part 3. During a lot of the initial 7 films, there wasn't much of a copyright claim dispute, so they mentioned whatever they wanted.
No, yeah, but in the same time, I'm just saying, if you're just doing another sequel, it doesn't matter what came before, is my point. You just pick it up. All Jason has to do is hack up some teenagers. It don't matter where the fuck he's at.
That's why you don't understand the franchise. Right there.
I do too.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't have said that. It's not just a stupid slasher movie. There's a backstory here.
There is a backstory to it, but the backstory has been so convoluted and lost through Jason Goes to Hell and all the other movies. And the fucking remake is a joke.
So then don't count the remake. You got one movie, Jason Goes to Hell, that you got to write your way around.
Well, what I'm getting at here is like this: what Six says. As a fan, you already know his backstory enough. You don't need to really mention it. Is what I was getting at.
Because at some point in the plot, you have to defeat Jason. How do you defeat Jason without his backstory?
You don't. His backstory has never really been that relevant.
You'd probably dump him into a big pile of cement and let him get carted in his place.
And they've pretty much tried everything so far that would be any relation to how he died. They've tried drowning him twice,
yeah, which is related to his backstory.
That's what I'm saying. So you've done all that.
And then in part 2, they put on the mother's sweater, right? Because it related to the backstory.
And I think Joker Voice is right. I think in Jason X, I don't remember him mentioning anything about the backstory. Because that's the other thing is when New Line
Jason X is a stupid movie.
I know it's a stupid movie.
Well, I don't even count that in the franchise because it happens in the future and it's like a one-off dumb movie.
Here's the thing, for like Jason Goes to Hell, they even had to pay for the rights to use Mrs. Voorhees in that. Like they use the name and shit.
Well,
but look how well that turned out. I know, I get it. You're more of a Jason fan than I will. I will concede that much, Jesse. But I do understand the movies. And you're not going to convince me anything more outside of the initial inspiration for the story was Sean Cunningham said, I want to rip off Halloween. And that's how it started. Okay, I'm not going to disagree that it didn't.
Honestly, Friday the 13th is better than Halloween as far as I'm concerned.
As far as the sequel goes, yes. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the sequel's holding up, definitely. But I would probably rather watch most Friday the 13th sequels than
I just don't see the point in making a movie with absolutely no story on it.
I'm not saying there won't be a storyline, but I'm just saying you can get
away
away with.
Storyline would have to invent a new mythos.
You don't have to. You don't have. Why does it have to be attached to the mythos?
Because he doesn't die. He's unstoppable. The only way to stop him is through rules.
That's all you need to know.
All the rules relate to his backstory.
In most of the latter films, his mother and backstory never really come up. Yeah. Not
Except
to my
that in
recollection.
part 8, he was drowned. In part 7, he was drowned. In part 6, they put him at the bottom of Camp Crystal Lake. In part 5, it was Roy Burns, wasn't him. In part 4, he was killed by Tommy Jarvis. Yeah, it all relates back to the main story. It is the story. You can't make a story without the rest of the story. That's what somebody who's lazy would do.
Well, we're getting sidetracked on Jason here, but the point is, here's the article from this is from Verge. We're gonna go with this one. Oh, we can listen to the article. How quaint. Should we do that?
I don't know.
It's loading. I can't.
Disney sues to keep its Avengers copyrights assembled.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Disney-owned Marvel is suing relatives of Steve Ditko and other Marvel Comics creators to retain control of classic characters, including Iron Man, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Black Widow. The lawsuits, covered earlier today by The Hollywood Reporter, were filed in New York and California against the heirs of Steve Ditko, Don Rico, Don Heck, and Gene Colan, as well as Stan Lee's brother and Marvel collaborator Lawrence Lieber. They ask courts to declare that Disney has sole ownership of comics like The Avengers, Iron Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Strange Tales, and Tales of Suspense, including the characters and story elements that have formed the basis for Disney's lucrative Marvel Cinematic Universe. As The Hollywood Reporter notes, the suits follow Lieber and others sending termination notices to reclaim part of the rights on many Marvel characters. They're an attempt to head off litigation that might follow from those notices. Termination notices are meant to let creators and their heirs share in publishers' profits. But Disney's attorneys argue that Marvel had sole creative control over the characters and comic books in question, saying it paid writers and artists on a work-for-hire basis that precluded any rights to the resulting books. This case thus involves an invalid attempt, by means of termination notices, to acquire certain rights to iconic Marvel comic book characters and stories, says the suit against Lieber. Artists and authors, as well as their families, have fought repeated legal battles for the rights to iconic comics characters. The efforts have had limited success. In 2014, Disney and the children of Marvel legend Jack Kirby settled a lawsuit that saw an appeals court rule in Disney's favor, concluding that Kirby had worked on a for-hire basis. The same year, an appeals court affirmed DC parent company Warner Bros.' victory over the family of Superman co-creator Joe Shuster. And in Marvel cases specifically, the comics giant has cited its collaborative Marvel method as an argument in its favor, saying it makes it difficult to assign ownership to a specific author or artist.
There you go, and that brings up the point that
Trump pushing Microsoft to buy TikTok was strangest thing I've ever worked on.
Well, anyway,
I am a robot voice.
That's kind of so drone. Everything sounds the same. Saying is, yeah, a lot of this I do remember now. That case is like, yeah, you have a problem. Is they've already argued that this shit was work for hire, and they lost those cases. So this is going to be a dicey one. It's going to be a dicey one unless it's really kind of convoluted in the contract. I mean, I think Script's right. They generally had pretty cut and dry work for hire contracts already. So
they did, and I would say a lot of our artists and authors currently now are taking, I believe it's called, like, I don't know if it was Frank Herbert that did it first, but he was one of the first ones to do it because he specifically left Dune to his family as a property because he didn't sell it off. And not in the way that we understand it. He definitely licensed it in most cases. And I know other authors.
Oh yeah, they still retain ownership through the family.
They retain the ownership, and they pass the ownership down to their kids or their next of kin. The only way a person can or a company can get the rights to that or the ownership of the entire property is if there's no one left to inherit it, and then they purchase it from the last surviving member, or if it goes to auction up for the debts of the estate if there's no one else left to claim.
Now, Script, what happened with the Happy Birthday song? Because they're not allowed to charge for that anymore.
That's because they lost the court case. Yeah,
they are now. It was under contention in these 80s, but that was changed.
Yeah, they proved that it was like not even 10 years ago. It was
longer than that. I think it was in the 90s.
Either way, it was like, it was based on another song, and Warner's claim to it was just a bunch of fugazi.
Yeah, but listen, Warner Legal has a long history of being very dicey and kind of conniving.
The King Kong cases.
Yeah. But we would refer to them as like basically no better than an ambulance chasing lawyer. They just go after, like, maybe we can do this, and they file it and see if anyone fights it.
Although that was kind of more universal.
So basically, all of the slicing and dicing of rights, then Script comes from attorneys trying to find different revenue opportunities off of an asset that someone else created and owned and licensed to a primary licensee.
Since the 70s. Before that, It was like smaller companies that used to do exactly what Marvel did, which is like work for hire. It's like, oh yeah, you may have created the character, but we purchased the character from you and all subsequent characters that are related to that character, as well as all subsequent stories related to that character.
And so they use the legal strategy in order to create in order to manufacture a new creative / revenue generating tree, if you will.
Usually it was just trying to circumvent public domain laws at that time, because a lot of the companies thought, oh, we're going to last forever.
Yeah, it's kind of like if a builder hires all subcontractors and doesn't have any actual employees. Because when it's done, on to the next one. I'll get some more guys to work on it. They'll pump it out again.
You can take a look at some of the most famous books that we have that are in the public domain, like the modern day Prometheus. That's the Frankenstein story. Anyone can really publish that. As far as I know, but if you wanted to do a specific film, kind of like the ones from 1940s with Boris Karloff, that one is more specific to to them, like because
Yeah,
they
Universal
invented
owns the
Igor.
rights to that version too.
Exactly, and there's certain versions. Like for instance, if I want to do a story where, let's say, I managed to do a deal with Warner Brothers, DC, and AT&T, and say, oh, I want to do a story where Bruce Wayne is 122 years old yet still alive somehow. No, even though I'm creating a variation of Bruce Wayne who is 120 odd years old and still alive and maybe fighting crime or training a bunch of people, and I created this version of him under normal laws, it would be considered, my character, but under actual copyright law, it's still a character that's owned by DC Comics, Warner Brothers, AT&T. Even though it would be completely different and new, and much like parallel to the Jason Voorhees thing, where in the first film Voorhees, is a spoken about character, not really seen except for the very end when he pops out of the lake and kills that girl. As a child, another writer came in and made that version an adult, even though it is the exact same character. You can legally split hairs on that, which is why nowadays, especially with other legal teams involved, they say, even if you age up a character or create a different variation of it, the parent company that owns it is going to ensure that whatever contract you have with them, they own the rights to that alteration of the character.
Well, I would think that would be right. I mean, like if I invent a Batman that's just a different form of Batman, which there's a million Batmans out there, I didn't invent anything. I just made Batman into a pirate, which has been done.
No, that was done in the mid '90s at least. There was a miniseries of that, I remember.
Like if I managed to get paid off of that and own that, I would feel like a shyster.
Right.
Totally, but that's usually the case, especially with a corporation, because like Mickey Mouse themselves are trying. Mickey Mouse is considered a character created by Walt Disney and then owned by Disney Corporation, but it is approaching a public domain.
It technically would be already, if I remember right.
Which would be if it wasn't for Disney in the first place. But the reason Disney really wants to hold on to that is, number one, it's also a brand image, and they're trying to push through laws that allow a corporation to own the characters that built up that corporation, as opposed to the individuals that did create those characters and their estates.
Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Now, let's say Mickey Mouse in particular. Everybody knows who Mickey Mouse is. He's obviously owned by Walt Disney. Now, if you do this, like South Park has their version of Mickey Mouse, which is obvious parody, but technically, even if it's parody, shouldn't Disney still own that?
No, parody is a mocking. It's supposed to be done. It's usually considered an obvious conveyance of a not legit interpretation of a character.
You're
parody
pretty well
is
covered, yeah.
Yeah, so parody is actually the best way. Like I could do a Batman parody, but I just can't use Batman specifically. I can use parts of Batman that is recognizable, but as long as the genre and the context of the execution of such a character is parody, DC, because again, the parody is going to be distinct enough to not be confused with. I mean, typically parody is distinct enough not to be confused with the original source.
Precisely, Bat Tom.
Yeah, Bat Tom is a good example of that.
I said.
So technically, I can make Batman and Robin, dress him in pink, give him a pink Batmobile, and have him go around as a couple shopping for furniture, and that's my own thing.
Yeah,
to a degree, as long as they're a bit more distinct and definitely can qualify under parody. Yeah, I can do a parody of James Bond, and it won't be a problem.
Call him Buttman, dress him in pink.
There is a couple of other characters named Buttman out there, but I'm pretty sure you could probably get away with that to some degree.
Wait, so I could put a sombrero on a Batman and call him Bat Sombrero?
Sombrero Man.
Yeah, as long as you got a little bit more to do with it, then yeah.
You could probably call him Mexican Batman and get away with it.
Yeah, there's that. No, parody is actually quite useful.
Somebody start writing a Mexican Iron Man show right now. Thank you.
Hey, that one's only 2 years. We haven't reached the statute of whatever limitation.
What are you, a Kennedy? Sorry, that's terrible.
That was a good one, Jesse.
I know, it's bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a dicey one. I think that the fact that Disney has had to go to the extent of suing to stop this from happening, that they probably have tried to work things out behind the scenes and they couldn't.
Oh, I think they tried to file a lawsuit like this back during the Kirby estate days, but they ended up delaying it because they wanted to focus on Kirby first before they ended up losing everything, possibly if the judge ruled in the reverse. Now that the judge has ruled in favor of Marvel and Disney with regards to the Kirby estate, now they're just going to start going on after all the ones that they can.
Yeah. You're probably
Chris,
right.
what do you and Tom or even Jesse think about this idea? How about the execs and the yo-yos at Disney stop trying to leech and feed off of the carcass of old creatives and actually do some new creative stuff and create some new value?
They did. Have. That's what Riri Williams is. That's
I was just going to say it's called Ironheart.
Yeah, like why do you think they're being
Morales.
So? It was around 2013, 14 after the Kirby lawsuit that they started bringing in the alterations of these characters. Yeah, and those ones are legally owned by Marvel. They are not owned by any of the people that wrote them first, so they're considered pure assets of the company as opposed to a creator made.
That's exactly why. Shouldn't they make a lot more money if they, everybody and their sister is writing a comic book these days. I mean, if they just scooped up a couple and then they would be owned by the studio, no?
Well, that's essentially what's happening currently with Marvel, and Detective Comics is doing the same thing to variations.
Yeah, but with the big two, don't you have to, be wokety woke to get through the door?
They don't care as long as it's a new character. Like wokeism has been kind of a double-edged sword for these companies, because number one, they can use that guise as a template for a reinvention of the character that they can wholly own, and number two, they think it also scores them points on social scale, which is absolutely not true. And in both cases, you can take a look, I guess, at the comic sale numbers. They have declined as a result, and it basically that puts them into this tough position where it's like, well, we've devalued these characters that we've reinvented and now wholly owned because we don't have that work for hire contract, or at least a contract that is vague enough to allow issues that we've been facing with Simon & Schuster and Bill Finger and Steve Ditko and all those people that used to work for us. So now we've got these brand new ironclad contracts that work for, Batwing, which is like, I think Lucius Fox's kid or something of that nature. And we don't have to worry about ever having to pay off the original creators or give them out, or it's not like a licensing agreement as it technically was to a degree on DC's side for a while.
I don't really read DC. When the hell did Lucius Fox have a kid?
Lucius Fox had two kids in the late 60s, early 70s. He had a son and a daughter. I think it was Nick was the original name. And then maybe they invented a third kid, but I know that I remember that. Because there was a period in the 70s where Lucius Fox was being
I didn't even
sought
know
after
Lucius
by
was
a rival
that old
company.
of a character.
Oh yeah, like I've been slowly going through some of the older issues from like 65 to now, and those stories are actually way better than anything in the 80s
the only
and 90s on the main line.
Is
and today,
scooping up the cover price for some of these things, especially if it's in good condition.
Oh yeah,
those Silver Age books, man, they'll set you back.
Lucky for me, I was fortunate enough to have a very short stint working with Warner Brothers, and I got access to a lot of their digital comics.
Oh,
well, yeah, so I got a few thousand of their scans and things on PDFs and various other formats that I get to read.
Well, that's cool.
It is pretty cool. It's a little tricky though, because they're not always the best of scans. So sometimes if I got a lousy scan, I'll go onto the DC website, see if I can find a reprint copy or something for cheap and get that.
All right.
Yeah, Batfink, I remember that. Now it was the same deal with Batman. Well, because he's parody, he's owned by the Tick.
Yeah.
Yes. All the Tick characters, I think, still are owned by.
Now, was he originally Deflator Mouse and changed to Batman? Well, or was it the other way around?
I think it was originally Deflator Mouse in this comic, but Fox Kids wanted something. Fox Kids was able to do the cartoon because the cartoon is like straight from the weird funny pages.
Well, isn't the other problem is the Deflator Mouse is like the literal translation of Batman?
Yeah, so they're like, make it different. So they're like, okay, Batman well, and they're like, that's fine. And they're like, really? Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, I think the live action show didn't pay for the full licensing of all the characters.
That could be. Well, the other news that was going on is William Shatner's Tech War is in the works as a adult animated series with Pure Imagination Studios. Does that mean there's going to be boobs in it?
The book series that he wrote back in the day?
I hope there's boobs.
Okay.
I don't remember boobs being in the books.
Look, I don't care if it's bad. I want to watch it.
I remember the live action Tech War series.
Well, let's read this and see what it says. Fucking, they don't have a fancy pants reading thing. Lazy
that
bastards.
Thing was terrible, by the way.
William Shatner and his Shatner Universe's team with Pure Imagination Studios develop and produce a mixed reality adult animated series based on Shatner's hit science fiction thriller, Tech War. Developed and written by Matt Michnovetz, 24, Star Wars, Clone Wars. Tech War is based on Shatner's series of best-selling detective novels, first published in 1989. The novels are set in the year 2043, not too far off the from where we're at, and follow a former detective in futuristic Los Angeles who was framed for the crime of dealing an illegal mind-altering drug in the form of a biodigital microchip. It poses a great threat to humanity and has the potential to become a virus that will lead to an unrecoverable future. Sounds familiar. Tech War is being conceptualized as a mixed reality animated series. What does mixed reality mean?
There might be some live action in there as well.
Viewers will be able to participate in the show in different forms of technology via mobile, tablets, or wearable devices. The series can be viewed standalone, but the level of immersion into the show, its characters and technology is enhanced by the ability to become a part of the narrative. Producers
that is a misnomer. It's not. It's going to make the audience feel like they're a part of the narrative, but they're not actually going to be a part of the narrative. There's no way they can afford reshooting something live with a human interaction.
Right. Producers say the series is the first step in building a real-time multiverse around a property, and Shatner, who has been involved in pioneering new frontiers his entire career. Franchise began as a best-selling book series and became a hit live-action television series featuring Shatner, as well as a comic book series and a video game. The Emmy-nominated series ran from 94 to 96 and aired on USA and Sci-Fi channels in the US and CTV in Canada. We are very excited to be working with the legendary William Shatner to reimagine the world of Tech War at a post-pandemic time, said John P. Roberts, Pure Imagination's chief content officer. Tech War was truly ahead of its time, envisioning a future filled with AI and the world of simulated reality. It's becoming our reality now, and we're excited to build a storyverse around it. Added Joshua Wexler of Pure Imagination's chief executive of fun. We want to do something that hasn't been done before. Who better to do that with than one of the greatest legends in sci-fi universe? The world and story of Tech War transcends traditional linear media and has the potential to be experienced on multiple entertainment platforms. Some that exist today and some we'll have to invent, and we can't wait to get started. Said Shatner, best known for his roles in Star Trek and that was where? Oh, here it is. Okay. Boston Legal. My association with Pure Imagination is beyond my sheer imagination. Imagine bringing to life this wonderful world in a variety of ways. So technology advances. So technology advanced. This is future, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, you would look forward to the future. So there you go. What do you guys think?
Well, you know that this, you know that a long time ago he said that this was T.J. Hooker of the future, right? Did you know that?
No,
I remember something of that nature.
Never said that.
Yeah. Wait, what?
No, I
he never said that. I remember that Tech War did have some CG back in the early mid 90s. Was it?
You're misquoting me, son.
Okay, well, I'm gonna find the article online.
I don't know.
All I know
No,
is that
absolutely.
William
In fact, he
Shatner
was
is a
really
sweetheart.
insistent. He was really He insisted at the time that I mean, I was a fan of this, and they were Marvel comic. I think they're Marvel comic books. You had the TV show. You had the novels, yeah, and the whole idea was that it would be like, well, you know the storyline, right? Because tech is a drug. You guys know the storyline, or you don't?
Sort of. I kind of remember it.
That,
I never read the series.
There's basically
I
like
just
a
read about
police
the
force
series,
that's
so I'm familiar.
kind of going after it.
Yeah, like it's like T.J. Hooker working the narc squad in the future.
Except William Shatner plays the chief as opposed to the main character.
Right. In fact, that was a big thing. I remember at the time. God, this is a long time ago, but I remember like there was this thing like he
Nelson Sharita says Denny Crane.
Denny Crane. I remember that he wanted the work to speak for itself versus it being all about him. And in terms of like, say, for example, like in the horror genre, where you might have the director or the creator's name, and then the name of the title. A lot of people wanted everybody to know that this was really William Shatner's thing, and he wanted to just create it and let it go a little bit. And I think it was like a reluctant. It definitely was a reluctant hit because he didn't really push it or promote it a lot. It just sort of happened and people latched onto it. But then he was really popular at the time. You know what I mean? Like in the 90s, he was really popular and stuff. I mean, not that he's not popular now, but now he's popular as a godfather of sci-fi. But I'm excited. I think it's great. I can't wait for this to come out. I don't know what it means by adult oriented. I mean, to me, that's a reference to the drugs, not so much, boobs and sex.
It's not a kids animated series, basically.
No. Well, I mean, no. I mean, right in the title. I mean, they might as well say, fill in the name of the blank drug war.
Like Facebook war or Twitter war or streaming wars, like it can all kind of it's all about the digital addiction of the populace. So
right, exactly.
Deranged Lunatic
I really
sends
want to
us
see the animation style personally.
Well, it'll probably be an anime style, I bet. We'll see though. Deranged Lunatic sends in a 99-cent floating heart sticker. Thank you so much. At least it wasn't a pooper sticker this time. Although I do enjoy.
Be in a good mood.
He must be in a good mood. Yes. Maybe he got laid.
I don't know. He was just posting a thing of a guy with a fire extinguisher between his legs behind him like he was farting. So I think he's just in a good mood.
I mean, this guy's like, what is he, 90, 91, 92? How old is he?
91.
And he's going into we've gotten 2 press releases in 2 weeks. Before that, we had his commentary on Star Trek. But he's going into space. And now he's working on an animated adult series.
Yeah, but 91 years old. Did you see that man in the picture? He is in some good ass shape.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I got a machete.
Ooh,
I look good in a cape.
Oh, I love that.
I look good in a cape.
Yeah, I look good. I look good. You notice how I'm behind Tom on this coming off of it? That's me standing up from the sofa.
We got a donation into PayPal. Thank you so much, Warwolf. Says, be aware that corporate copyright only lasts roughly 125 years. From the moment of creation, and for many such as Superman, that period is running out anyway. So they will be public domain soon. Sorry for the small amount sent, but I'm kind of on a budget since Comic-Con is next week. No worries, my friend Werewolf. Every little bit helps. And yeah, if you want to bypass YouTube, you can go ahead and send me a PayPal donation instead, and you can ask us a question or say a comment. Right there is the link in the chat.
And corporate copyright law only pertains to the country of origin of the corporation. So outside of that, because again, every individual country has its own copyright law. So for instance, in Canada, James Bond is considered public domain, at least the books. In the United States, it's still connected with Eon and the Broccoli family. And
there's a lot of convolution.
So if I'm in Canada, I can make a James Bond movie and only show it in Canada. No one will bother.
No, you can show it anywhere, but you have to make it. Everybody involved has to be pretty much
Canadian
under the Canadian laws, or not so much everybody, but the production and the company that is making that production has to be Canadian.
I can't believe they haven't done that.
Well, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett and myself were actually talking about doing something of this in Canada because it is public domain.
Oh.
I don't know if we're going to follow through on that. He's coming down from being busy promoting Tango Shalom, and I'm just getting I got another job a few weeks ago.
And that's the reason I haven't got through the Bond movies, because he's been so busy. I understand. But that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So.
And if there's a budget in there and you need like someone to play like the evil Mexican sombrero agent, I don't need a Ferrari. You can just give me like an R8.
I can play Blofeld, and you don't even have to put a bald cap on me.
There's that,
dude. You need.
But on top of that too, like there's been a lot of companies that have been pushing for a
kitty.
form of international copyright law that applies to every country, and I hope they don't do that because that's just going to be a bad idea. But at the same time, it's like for individual creators who do create something, I would always suggest licensing it out, never selling the entirety of the rights, and if you have children, keep them responsible for that that property that's inherited, or sign it over to them if you're on your deathbed, so that you don't have to worry about inheritance taxes on it. Just look at, like, consult your family lawyer with regards to copyright and property law, and get that worked out. Never sell it to a big corporation if you can avoid it.
I don't know how true this is, but Das Gettin Middle says Midnight's Edge Star Wars has no copyright since it was accepted as an official religion, Jediism, in the U.S. and cannot be you cannot copyright a religion. Just a hint.
I think it's also in Australia as well.
I was gonna say Australia, I knew, but not about the U.S. And even in that
might have been more
case-
recently. Australia was the first one to do it.
Yeah.
Why is there two eyes in Jediism?
Because it wouldn't be, otherwise it'd be Jedism.
Jediism.
Yeah, the two eyes doesn't look great.
No, it does not.
I don't know. You got two eyes. Sometimes you don't look right.
I know. Look at me. But I've been through a lot.
But
Welcome
the other
to
part
the
too is that you
dad
can't really
joke
make it an
portion of
ism.
the story.
The religion itself would just be Jedi.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
Jedi,
copyright
just like my
already.
father before me. But Jedi's problematic now. Should we get into
If
that?
you use it
story?
as an acronym.
Wait, what? How is it problematic? It's a freaking
Because
made
people
up
who are
ancient.
obsessed with Star Wars are weird.
Well, the Jedi are guardians of truth and justice, and yet the people that want to use it as an acronym for something else, they don't care about truth or justice.
An acronym for what? Did I miss this show, or is this new information? What did I
Everything
miss?
that's coming to mind is dirty.
Yeah, like the words
Is
that
this
I'm using
Scientific
JEDI
America?
for are
Is that
like
where this is from?
some
Just
horn
enough
dog
be
action.
inserted.
Well, I can't remember what they wanted to make the J stand for, but the other one was equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Wait, what?
Is it Jews? No, I just kidding. We all know that liberals hate the Jews.
Oh, justice, right. I should have known that. But again, the people that want to promote this don't believe in any of those four.
What is this horse shit? I'm seeing this for the first time, and this wasn't on the
You
list
haven't seen
articles
this
before the
before?
show. No,
Oh,
I haven't seen
wow.
this. Scientific American, what the hell are they
Why
doing right
the
about
term
this crap?
Jedi is problematic for describing programs that promote justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion.
What?
They're meant to be heroes within the Star Wars universe, but Jedi are inappropriate symbols for justice work.
Look, man, they're not allowed to get married.
Isn't that kind of what the
do you think
Jedis
that leads
did?
to?
Didn't they go around the galaxy and making sure that the justice was served?
Well, I mean, in the original trilogy, before they got, all the extra EU stuff and everything, a Jedi was kind of considered a wanderer, like a man with no name type of thing, and they went where there were problems and helped the locals solve them, and
Isn't
then
that one of the
married
lines
on.
Obi-Wan says is that they brought justice to the galaxy?
Well, no, they were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the prequel trilogy, they're now the guardians of peace and justice for the Old Republic, which is very different.
Six did send this to me a few days ago, but yeah, like I kind of avoided talking about this.
I want to thank Six for like raising
but
my blood pressure.
I want to make Mexican Iron Man squirm a little bit here. So the acronym Jedi has become a popular term for branding academic committees and labeling STEM initiatives focused on social justice issues. Used in this context, Jedi stands for justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. In recent years, this acronym has been employed by a growing number of prominent institutions and organizations, including the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. At first glance, Jedi may simply appear to be an elegant way to explicitly build justice into more common formula of DEI, an abbreviation for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah, they specifically make it DEI instead of DIE, which is what it is.
I wish I could say George Lucas is going to sue somebody, but George Lucas don't own Star Wars no more. He would. He'd go after these motherfuckers. You're like, you can't use that. That's what's mine. He wouldn't. He wouldn't care.
You're gonna parody the lightsabers. Red has to be bad. Blue has to be good. Green has to be good.
Speaking of lightsaber, he sued somebody before for trying to name their laser the lightsaber. Do you remember that?
Probably happened when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was years ago, but he did not like
having that.
He did not like that they used the name Star Wars to for the Star Wars deal for the government either. And I think it was
he
never
hated that because that was
yeah.
that was
And we
a
all know-
controversial government program that was infringing on his own property.
Yeah,
just on top of
they just
everything.
used Star Wars to make it sound like new and hip and popular. Meanwhile, it was Missile Command.
It's more like high atmosphere war.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was the whole thing. Is the actual name of it wasn't Star Wars, but that was the name that Reagan kept using, and that's how come George couldn't do shit.
Yeah, but Reagan also was talking about how we have spaceships that could carry 200 people, and he's seen them. So it's like I don't know.
Well, when I went out to the edge of Venus, it was a beautiful. That way we saw Star Wars the other night. What? Okay, Star Wars. Yeah, I like the Wookiee.
Remember, he was from Hollywood, people.
That's right. So anyway, where was I with this stupid shit?
I don't know. This is not making any sense to me. I'm confused.
Productivity.
They're saying the Jedis are gay.
Yeah. Productively shifting our ethic focus in process. Jedi, it has the important affordances, but it also inherits another notable set of meanings. It shares a name with the superhero protagonists of the science fiction Star Wars franchise, the Jedi. Within the narrative world of Star Wars, to be a member of the Jedi is seemingly to be a paragon of goodness, a principled guardian of order and protector of innocent. Notice how they didn't use justice.
Actually, the Jedi in the books have an order, but they weren't really about order. They were just about peace and justice, which is chaotic in many ways.
They can't fight a war for you. This is a set of pop cultural associates is one and the same Jedi initiatives and advocates explicitly allude to. Whether intentionally or not, the labels we choose for our justice-oriented initiatives open them up to a broader universe of associations, branding them with meaning. And in the case of Jedi, I wouldn't use branding there because you're gonna get yourself sued. Binding them to
George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Consumer brands through its connections to Star Wars. The name Jedi can inadvertently associate our justice work with stories and stereotypes that are a galaxy far, far away from the values of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. The question we must ask is whether the conversations started by these connections are the ones we want to have. Why are you even having this conversation to begin with? Is my question. But anyway, as we will argue, our justice-oriented projects should approach connections to the Jedi and Star Wars with great caution, and perhaps even avoid the acronym Jedi entirely. Below, we outline 5 reasons why. Here we go, kids. Yeah. Oh, we got a super chat. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, how dare they add justice to their name? Yeah, right? No shit. That's a bunch of fucking horse shit if I ever heard it. Nikki D said, what are the ramifications of the CEAA and IBM merger to the film industry? Will the quality of films be adversely affected?
Oh, we can the ICM? I don't think IBM is.
I think that's what she meant, but it's probably like.
I think she means ICM. Yeah.
But it was probably fucking corrected by whatchamacallit. You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna grab that chat, and I'm gonna put it in the private here. We're gonna get to that right after this, because that's a good question. And Mikey, in the meantime, while I'm reading the rest of this crap, if there's any other super chats or members,
you gonna start grabbing them?
Yeah, could you? Just in case, because I
can't
get to any classics if we lose out on any. So.
Oh shit! All right, let me go because I have my windows closed. I'll open it up right now.
That'd be awesome, and I'm gonna continue to read this.
Go.
The Jedi are inappropriate mascots for social justice. Although they're
that's true. That is very true.
Although they're ostensibly heroes within the Star Wars universe, the Jedi are inappropriate symbol for justice work. They are a religious order of intergalactic police monks, prone to white saviorism and toxic social approaches.
They're of all different species.
They're aliens. Look, ain't you seen the movie? There's a little green fucker. There's this guy with a long neck. There's a guy who kind of looks like Predator. Then there's a black guy, a white guy.
There's a cone head.
Yeah, there's.
Hey, it's an alien.
For real, it's an alien.
And the Jedi, which have zero discrimination with regards to your species, they only care about if you're patient enough and young enough to learn their ways.
Professor Gray says, "Can I get some dressing for this word salad?" Hell yes, please.
Yeah, you notice how they use words though, just like you were saying with order. They replace an order with order as like a concept, as opposed to a paramilitary structure, right? They do that because it's all commie brainwash talk. It's all fucking backwards.
Yeah.
And people read this shit and they start to get slowly annoyed.
Well, speaking
By the
of
time
cult,
they're done reading it, they're pissed and they don't even know why. It's
Speaking
because
of
they're
cults,
switching everything around.
we'll get into this a little more here. Okay, let's say prone to white saviorism and toxic masculinity approaches to conflict resolution, violent duels with phallic lightsaber.
Okay,
Wait,
so they've
what?
only seen the prequels. I got it. Okay.
Gaslighting,
Obviously obsessed with the phallic things.
gaslighting by means of Jedi mind tricks, etc.
Look at Mike's big pink phallus.
But those only work on the weak-minded.
That is a bit pink and phallus.
He's got that thing by the handle. He's got it right by the base. He's choking up on it.
Makes vibration sounds.
It's turning purple.
It's getting purple.
It's about 3 feet long, which I think is pretty accurate.
Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark, kids. Oh, shit. The Jedi are also an exclusionary cult. Membership to which is partially predicated on the possession of heightened psychic and physical abilities or force sensitive. Now, the Midi-chlorians don't give a fuck what species or color you are.
First of, and second of all, they're called Mexichlorians.
Mexichlorian. Oh shit! You're gonna make this more problematic than it already is.
You know how you tell the difference? They dance every afternoon.
There's a siesta happening in my blood every 4 hours.
Life of the party.
No. Like, hold on. I'm ready. Hold on. Wait. This is what's gonna be like. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I got it, Jesse. This is for Jesse. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go.
We're never getting through this.
Hold on. You, Tom, you are not my. Well, actually, you are my Midnight. You are my Midnight After Dark father. I shall fight you for the salsa and the tortilla chips. But first, I'm a siesta.
Come back in an hour.
Okay, while he's sleeping, I'm going to finish this. Strikingly force-wielding talents are narratively explained in Star Wars, not merely in spiritual terms, but also in ableist. Is that a word?
Ableist.
Ableist. Okay. That's how much I read this shit, guys. Ableist. Yeah, I don't know that word very well. I know that word, but I wouldn't know if I saw it. And now I can say that, and you got the proof. In ableist and eugenic ones, the supernatural powers are naturalized as biological, hereditary attributes. So it is that force potential is framed as a dynastic property of noble bloodlines, for example, the Skywalker dynasty, and force disparities are rendered innate physical properties measurable via midi-chlorian count, not unlike a force genetics test.
Okay, hold on. One of my degrees from Stanford was in English literature, and I don't even know what that just meant.
Oh, I know what that means. Basically,
can you translate that for me, Script, since you're the boy wonder?
They're
from
basically
Canada?
saying that the initial idea, where from the original trilogy, where anyone who was taught by a Jedi could potentially become a Jedi, it has been circumvented with only if you have the right amount of living beings within your blood. And basically it's all about blood and lineage as opposed to the inherent potential of anyone who so wishes to pursue a Jedi knighthood.
Yeah. And that's an argument you and I have had with other people I know in the past, but I'm not getting into that.
Yeah. I mean, well, maybe more of a debate. Some people have escalated it to arguments, but yes.
That's true. Preston Bruno sends in $2, says, "Damn it, Iron Man, you had one job. Save the super chats. How can you be considered a superhero if you can't even save the super chats?"
I got
He's doing a good
distracted
job so far.
I got distracted, and then I needed a nap.
Yeah, another name for Midi-chlorians are Thetans. Just so you know. No, I'm just kidding. Moving on.
Look, if you take a little pinch from every single story that's ever been written and you put it into your own, you're not plagiarizing it. You came up with it. It's yours.
That's what Tarantino does.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of abstract ideas you can, because again, you can't copyright an idea.
You know what else Tarantino does? Cocaine.
Probably.
Oh, I seen him on special features at Kevin.
In
Smith's
Amsterdam,
house.
he's got a little place where he goes to write.
I bet he does.
Yes, he does.
Why not?
All right, so let's get back into this. An argumentable via humanoid engineering, the heroic Jedi are thus emblems for a host of dangerously reactionary values and assumptions. Sending the message that justice work is akin to cosplay is bad enough. Dressing up our initiatives in the symbolic garb of Jedi is even worse. This caution about Jedi can be generalized. We must be intentional about how we name our work and mindful of the associations any name may bring up, perhaps particularly when such names double as existing words with complex histories. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Like, I'm sure that the people who made the AIDS candy were pissed after they named that disease after it, but hey.
Well, before it was AIDS, it was called like Gertz or something like that.
I know. I'm just being a fucking.
Have some of these delicious AIDS.
Yeah, they were delicious until they weren't.
Remember the candy Nerds?
Yes, I still love them.
Is it cold in here?
They still make Nerds. No, it's not cold in here. It's just you.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I ate the AIDS.
You ate the AIDS. Don't eat the AIDS. They're out of date.
Put it down.
Okay, moving on. Star Wars has a problematic cultural legacy. The space opera franchise has been critiqued for trafficking injustices such as sexism, racism, and ableism. Now that I know that word, thanks to Script Doctor, at least how to read it anyway. Think, for example, of the so-called slave Leia costume, infamous for stripping down and chaining up the movie series' first leading lady as part of an Orientalist subplot.
The bad guys did that to her.
Wait. Oriental, as in something from the Orient?
What?
I think they mean the pattern on her bikini is similar to the Shinogsum.
It was Persian.
Why?
Anyway, it's a metal bikini in space. She looked hot.
Why is it when these motherfuckers are trying to make some kind of point about racism, they just come off more racist?
How in the hell is this in Scientific American, for God's sake?
You gotta look up.
They don't have editors anymore.
Just to be
is this racist. Like Scientific American? Is this their wiki page? Anybody can post whatever the flying frack they can frackety frack?
Probably.
Well, see, there's a big difference on Wikipedia. If enough people say it's shit, you can't write on there anymore. This person's going to work there for another 10 years.
All right, Tom, what's next in this damn article?
Lord, I don't want to keep reading this thing.
Go for it. This one's fun.
Where was I?
Jumping anywhere. This means nothing.
Star Wars arguably conflates alienness with non-whiteness, often seeming to rely on racist stereotypes
of aliens.
Depicting non-human.
They're talking about Jar Jar. Okay, I'll give.
They're talking about Jar Jar and the
Nemoidians.
Yeah, that's old fucking. And not only that,
Lucy Liu is the reason for that.
And not only that,
what are the Ewok gay Care Bears?
Yeah, Watto. They also said was a Jewish stereotype. Again, whenever these people bring this shit up,
I thought Watto was Italian.
No, Watto was played by an Asian actor, I think.
He was. No, I can't remember now. But point being is they were like, oh, yeah.
Seem like an old pawnbroker.
They always do this shit, and it's like they come off more racist than if you were just like...
You know why they call... Look, to me, he sounded Italian. They called him Jewish because he had a big nose. That's why they're racist, okay? That's it. I swear to God, these people are super duper racist. That's why they talk about race constantly. You know, I talk to these people, and I talk to these people, and I never talk about race. You know why? Because I'd rather talk about anything else, because I'm not obsessed with race. And you know, no one I ever talk to ever brings up race in the conversation to me. And you want to know why that is? Because they're not crazy. These people are nuts. They're just nuts. They want other people to be nuts with them so that they could be more dangerous as a group.
Oh, Lord.
Need a beating. Need some parents. Need Jesus.
Okay.
Or somebody, Zoroaster.
The series regularly defaults into ableist tropes, memorably in its portrayal of Darth Vader. which links the villain's physical ability with mechanic inhumanity and moral deviance, presenting his technology based or assisted. Jesus Christ, I cannot read. Let me make this bigger. That helps. Technologically assisted breathing as sinister auditory marker of danger and doom. What's more, the bodies and voices centered in Star Wars have, with a few exceptions, historically been those of white men. And while recent films have increased gender and racial diversity, important questions remain regarding how meaningfully such changes represent a departure from the series' problematic past. Indeed, a notable segment from the Star Wars fandom has aggressively advocated the re-centering of white men in the franchise, with some equating recent casting decisions with white genocide. Additionally, the franchise.
Whoa. What about making it white genocide?
What?
Yeah, for real. That's the end goal. They like to bring up things like that so that, it desensitizes you to hearing it. Especially when it starts happening.
What?
I shit you not.
Additionally, the franchise's cultural footprint can be tracked in a saga of United States military industrial investment and expansion, from the debates around Reagan's Star Wars Strategic Defense Initiative to the planned Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure, another Jedi program, sometimes winkingly framed with Star Wars allusions. Taken together, the controversy surrounding Star Wars make Jedi, at best, an inappropriate way to brand justice work and a kind of double-edged sword, or better, double-bladed lightsaber. That's not the same thing. At worst, this...
What the fuck is a double-bladed lightsaber? Like, lightsaber.
That's Darth
Want me to go get one? I got one. Hold on.
That's a double-ended lightsaber, okay? A double-bladed sword has a blade on each end.
Exactly.
It's not a
That's
baton.
why I said they're not the same thing. That's the whole point, is you can't grab it because it doesn't have a fucking handle, you moron.
I'm going to go get mine. I'll be right back. What?
I think that lightsabers are using microwave rays or something, because you can hold your hand close to the lightsaber and it doesn't burn you, but it could burn through a metal door, because I think it's really just activating the atoms which it touches, as opposed to being its own heat source per se.
Copper and Dio sends in $10, says, this is nonsensical. How is Star Wars racist? The Millennium Falcon, the ship that saves all, is an Egyptian Ankh. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
But white savior, right. Yeah. Then we had Mr. Trickle Trunk before that, said, Scientific America is playing defense for a secular religion. What a time to be alive. Oh, Lord. Did we have one before that, Mike?
I don't know, but that was clever.
No, we got that one. DCB Titan says, you can easily launch 200 people into space on Saturn V if you remove the equipment. Also, you'll find no greater penis worshippers than feminists. Yeah, they got quite a bit of penis envy. That's for sure.
Well, they have all those different attachments.
I stand by what I say. If you're a lesbian, you're not allowed to use a dildo. You made your choice. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Nothing against lesbians at all. I love lesbians. But if you don't want a penis, then you shouldn't get a fake one. Just saying.
But they come in all shapes and sizes.
This is true. If you can make a penis that's the shape of a vagina, go for it.
Wouldn't that just be an inside out one? It would still kind of fit.
Well, then I guess you should quit fucking going for an itty when you want an outie, huh?
This is all very Yannick. I don't know what to do.
I just canceled my show, I'm sure. At worst, this branding of our discipline is frightened with the very violence that our justice work seems to counter. When we consider the relationship of a Jedi to Star Wars and its fraught cultural legacy, a more general caution comes into view. When we label our initiatives, we must be careful about the universe of narratives and symbols within which we situate our work, and the cultural associations and meanings that our project may take on as a result. How many more of these are there? Jedi connects justice initiatives and corporate capital. Jedi is more than just a name. It's a product. Circulating that product's name can promote and benefit the corporation that owns it, even if we do not mean to do so. So we're in effect providing the corporation Disney with a form of free advertising. commodifying and cheapening our justice work in the process. Such informal co-branding entangles our initiative. You know what? I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to say, you know what? You're right. Quit using the fucking term Jedi. Go away. Good for you. I'm not going to argue with them. They shouldn't be using it anyway.
Yeah.
And then we get into more worse shit. So I'm just going to keep reading just cause. So I'm not going to stop. We are in effect providing blah, 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 blah. Such informational co-branding entangles our initiatives in Disney's morally messy past and present. It may also serve to rebrand and whitewash Disney by linking one of the signature product lines to social justice. After all, Disney has long and troubled history of circulating racist, sexist, heterist, and orientalist narratives and images, which the corporation and its subsidiaries like Pixar are publicly reckoning with. Furthermore, what?
Is it Orientalist as in the Orient or Orientationalist?
It says
which isn't a word.
Orientalist is what it says.
So are the liberals finally shitting on China? How does that work?
What?
Sounds like a gay op.
I added a new button and I'm not going to get tired of it.
What?
Furthermore, Disney is overly political entity. Critique not only forced labor practices. I'm not going to do this.
They will pay.
They will pay. But also for its political donations and lobbying. Joining forces with Disney's multimedia empire is thus a dangerous co-branding strategy for justice advocates and activists. Blah, 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 blah. This form of inadvertent woke washing extracts ethical currency from so-called Jedi work, robbing from its moral reserves to further enrich corporate capital. A border lesson can be learned here. When we brand our initiatives, it pays to be mindful about whether the names we endorse double as products in cultural industry. We must be careful about the company we keep and the companies that our initiatives help to keep business. You know, maybe you should have thought about this shit before you decided to adopt Jedi. You know what I mean? Like, this is a conversation you should have been having.
But if we say Jedi, then you know it will get press.
That's what I mean.
Bullshit.
The whole thing is
AIDS.
The whole thing is that they fucking used this acronym, or like script actor said, move the letters around so they could, for the specific reason you're just saying, Jesse, to bring more attention to it.
We're talking about it. We're making fun of it, but we're talking about it.
So it's done its job in that respect. But now this idiot, whoever wrote this, is out there going, well, it's a problem. So yeah, where were you, idiot, when they were fucking deciding this?
White Knight says if we look at who's the author of this article, it'll explain a lot. I don't know what that means, but that's what he says.
Which one? Where?
White Knight.
Google the author. See if they're a
White Knight says to look up who the author is, and that'll explain.
Oh, I'm sure. Let me go back up here and look here.
I bet they're gonna look like a meme.
A.W. Hammond, Sarah Brownell, it's got a fucking cavalcade of them.
Well, there you go.
Jesus Christ.
They couldn't figure it out by themselves to write one article.
How is this in Scientific American? Wasn't that like what?
Well, it's very strange because there's nothing scientific about this article in any way.
There's not even anything American about this, and I stand by America because I'm from South Carolina. America.
Well, the closest thing to America about this is that it's a free speech issue, and it's.
Here's the names if people want to look up for us, and I'll give them to Mikey here in the meantime, because there's a whole fucking bunch of them. I can't expect you to look all those people up.
I'm on it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
While I'm copying super chats, read some super chats.
You are. Did we caught up yet or no?
I don't know. Look at the private chat; they're all there.
Copper Indio. Yep. We're caught up. Okay. So for now, we're caught up. In the meantime, no. Go to the bottom. They'll list the occupations. Okay. Well, when we get to the bottom, we'll look. Aligning justice work with Star Wars risks threatening inclusion of sense of belonging. While an overcharging goal of Jedi initiatives is to promote inclusion, the term Jedi might make people feel excluded. Star Wars is popular but divisive. Identifying our initiatives with it may nudge them closer to the realm of fandom, manufacturing in-groups and out-groups. Those unfamiliar or uncomfortable with Star Wars, including those hurt by the messages it sends, may feel alienated by the parade of jokes, puns, and references surrounding the term Jedi. Consider, as one example, its gender exclusionary potential. Studies suggest that the presence of Star Wars and Star Trek memorabilia, such as posters in computer science classrooms, can reinforce masculine stereotypes about computer science.
What?
Oh my
Wait,
God.
is that how they got this article in Scientific American? They waited till like the 3rd page and then inserted those words?
Are they trying to say that a bitch can't learn Linux?
Contributing to a woman's sense that they don't belong in that field.
What?
Yeah, because no women like Star Trek or Star Wars.
And like the computer thing, I've never seen a woman type fast as shit. Like,
actually, I know a lot of women who can type pretty good.
Yeah, like I can't type like that. I go. Like
oh, this. You mean? Oh, okay. I thought I misunderstood. I thought you meant the other way. Sorry.
No, but Jesse can work a controller. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, a controller is more natural.
Lindsay's like, Jesus Christ, I'm done. Again, and after reading this, and I'm not even done yet, but you know what my response is going to be to this? Where the fuck were you, idiot, when they were deciding this? Because, like, these kind of points should have been made then. Anyway, but I don't believe with this. Anyway, contributing to relatedly, research indicates that even for self-identified female fans of Star Wars, here we go, a sense of belonging within that fandom can be experienced as highly conditional.
What research? Cite the article. Cite the data.
Performances proving the conformity to pre-existing gendered norms of dominant fan culture.
Wait, pre-existing? So they existed before they existed?
What? Oh my God! I'm on the second author of this thing, and I'm already like full of idiot information.
Oh God! Anyway, I think we're almost maybe half done. Shit.
Go ahead, tell me. Keep going. This is getting hilarious. I'm on the 3rd author right now. These people are idiots. I'm reading their bios.
Had a moment when many professional sectors, including higher education, are seeking to eliminate barriers to inclusion and to change the narrative about who counts as a scientist, political scientist, STEM professional, or historian. Adopting the term Jedi seems like an ironic move backward. However we feel about Jedi, a moral general insight to apply to our work is this: how we brand an initiative can shape perceptions and feelings about that initiative and about who belongs in it. The abbreviation Jedi can also distract from justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. When you think about the word Jedi, what comes to mind? Chances are good for many. The immediate answer isn't the concept justice or comrades, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Actually,
no, it would be Ewan McGregor. That's the first thing that comes
to
my head.
Well, that's not Jedi. True either. I mean, I don't associate any of those things with the Jedi because they're not the first thing I fucking think about when I wake up in the morning. They're not the same thing I think about all goddamn day long. Not the last thing I think about before I go to fucking sleep. I don't eat, sleep, and breathe justice, equity, equality, inclusion. Justice, diversity, equality, and inclusion. That's what these fucking people talk about constantly. Constantly. God. Do you ever just talk about how nice the weather is?
No.
Or
well, I made a sandwich. I made a sandwich
last night. Instead of talking about everybody's fucking genitals, did you suck on some?
Whoa. Tom, yesterday I made a sandwich, and when I thought of diversity inclusion, I was like, mustard, mayo, or both.
Hear about that.
I'm like, mustard, mayo, or both. That was my diversity inclusion from yesterday.
Both.
Yes, that's what I want. Diversity, equity, and inclusion on is my sandwich. I want it to have ham, turkey, beef,
lettuce, tomato, a couple of kinds of cheese.
That's where we're talking. Some.
If you want to be fancy, you could put a toothpick with one of them olives. That
I don't give a shit who makes my sandwich. If they're Mexican, if they're white, if they're black, I don't fucking care as long as they don't spit in it.
And they make a good sandwich.
And they make a goddamn good sandwich. Don't matter. Don't matter. Fucking Christ. instead,
you know what the problem is? There's enough people out there of all races who feel a tinge of racism where they think that they need to apologize for it by becoming an SJW, and then they just become more and more racist behind the scenes, and then all those normal people are just over here living, and we're dumbfounded by the mentality because it's like a bunch of group. It's not just group thing. But it's like mass delusion is the closest thing I could come.
Like a cult?
Yeah.
Hypnosis.
But usually a cult centers around one charismatic figure, and there's always an offer of further knowledge.
Well, this one here is now it's just an appealing idea, really.
Yeah, it's like a way to be racist without being racist, and to be just like do whatever you want in the meantime.
Well, it's flipping the intention around where they're saying like, oh, isn't it like instead of it's being like we hate them because they look like this, it's like we love them because they look like this, and so that's why we need to isolate them from the rest of us. It's like no,
you know what? Everything they do is just simply reversed. It's just like Antifa, anti-fascist. Wow, do you start working out, Mikey?
He's muted.
Can't hear you, Mikey.
What up,
but like anti-fash. What are they? They're fascists.
Yeah.
They just name everything the opposite, and the stupid people go along with it. I don't understand.
I'm sure you were watching, Paulie, but
No,
welcome.
I wasn't.
Then what the fuck are you doing here?
What? Someone said to come on. So Mike yelled at me.
Oh well, shit.
That's not true. He came and knocked on the door himself. He said he wanted on.
Hi, everybody in the chat. Hi.
Hi.
What do you got
What's
going
up?
on, Paulie?
What pitchforks do we have aimed at who?
Oh, we're just having fun with the Scientific America fucking article.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it's basically taking as much of it as you can before you have an aneurysm.
It's hilarious. And my answer to this thing has been the whole time the same thing. Where were you when they decided this shit? Because this is just dumb.
Wow. Excuse me.
Basically, there's this group called, what is it? Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And now there's people that have the issue with them using Jedi as
their acronym.
Wow.
We're Jedis.
So this whole article, excuse me, is op-ed is about how they shouldn't be using that term because Jedi don't stand for any of those things.
I'm very susceptible to mind tricks.
And these are people that pull a salary, like someone hires them.
Yes.
Well, I believe they're studying and they're on research grants. So someone has given them money to come up with this stuff.
Yeah, precisely.
As a grant.
No one useful has hired them.
Yes, no one useful has hired them.
Yes.
Hey, too much. Hey guys. It just goes to show you just how disconnected the ivory towers of academia are.
Well, Mike was in the process of pulling up information about these individuals.
Oh,
so,
yeah. All right, well,
pull up the pictures. They're even funnier. The first guy looks like a real.
We're going to learn all about him here in just a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take off.
No, you don't have to. I was just saying.
Yeah, he does because I need my workstation back.
Okay, I guess he needs his workstation back. We love you, Paulie. See you in the chat.
No.
Check out the Latino slant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Midnight's Edge Espanol.
Oh, and I like your idea of doing.
Really nice, real nice plug there, Tom. All right, we'll see you in the chat. Check out that Latino guy over there.
You're lucky to be here. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, lucky to be here, you Mexican. What are you thinking?
I didn't say it like that.
Yeah, that's what you're.
Even though that's what I meant.
I resemble that statement, sir.
You can read the super chat.
Ow. Naked Fame for $5. Thank you so much. For New York City tax purpose, a taco and a hot dog are considered sandwiches. For menu simplicity, can be. From a culinary view, no. They are their own thing. Yeah, they're their own thing.
I don't think a taco is going to take 25 minutes off your life if you eat it.
Well, here's the thing is, I can't remember
what it depends on what you have in that taco.
But I go to this really authentic Mexican place and they have sandwiches, but they have a special name for them. So I know there is Mexican sandwiches. Help me out here, Polly. Yes.
Tortas. That's a
Yes.
weird name.
I couldn't remember what it was, man.
It's literally Torta.
I know, but I can remember flautas. Give me a break.
No,
Yo, you're
why?
about to get jumped.
You're supposed to get better at this.
Do
Pauly,
better? Is
duck.
that what you're telling me, Paulie? Are you telling me to do better?
Dale mejor, mijo. Dale mejor.
Quit being
How
so
do I
locoso.
reach these kids?
How can I reach these? Oh, Trejo's people got a hold of me today.
Yes. Sweet. We got anything we can talk about real quick? Or?
It looks like we're trying to frame the Trejo stream around before, definitely before Thanksgiving. To push his book.
Cool.
So
Okay.
Nice.
So whoever's going to be on that panel needs to read that fucking book.
Is his book a story or is it an autobiography?
It's an autobiography.
Auto dog.
Oh well, shit. That's he's got a hell of a story.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know a lot. Every time I'm in the Midnight Edge chat, stop it. He's gonna kill me. Every time I'm in the Midnight Edge chat, hey, what's going on with Trejo? Hey, what's going on with Trejo?
Yeah, and I understand.
Well, not for nothing, dude. Danny Trejo's been in probably more movies than anybody at this point.
Danny Trejo is a badass motherfucker.
He does movies for people just because he wants to give them a break.
Yeah.
We need a movie with Samuel Jackson, Danny Trejo in it.
Yeah.
And Keith David.
Sure.
Keith David.
What, you don't like Keith David?
No, but not. Like,
I would say Stephen Ogg,
Sam Jackson, Danny Trejo,
just some badass mofos.
and you need like one like crotchety white dude in there.
Stephen Ogg from Grand Theft Auto. He played Trevor. He's also on The Walking Dead. He played Simon.
Oh, he's
Danny
great.
DeVito.
Danny.
I came blasting. I don't
That's
see
funny.
so good, so I missed him. So then I
good.
tried to shoot him in the back. Good thing I had my piece.
That's funny. Clancy Brown would be great. That's a great cast. Yeah. All right. All right. I gotta go.
You are.
Nice. Nice.
Yo, Infidel, Ron Jeremy can't be in anything, man. That dude in prison.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
Is Chuck Norris still acting?
I'm gonna go.
All right, take care, Paulie. We love you, brother.
Love
Have
you
a good
guys.
night, dude.
Have a good vacation. Terry Crews and Nick Cage. There you go. We're done. Eric Roberts can be in it too.
Yeah, why not?
We are getting a Twins 2 Punk Waddle. It's finally happening. Only instead of Eddie Murphy being in it, it's going to be Tracy Morgan.
Now you gotta be fucking looking forward to this shit.
We can still hear you guys.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my god!
Anyway,
No,
I can't
what
do
you
a
want
Tracy
again.
Morgan.
He's upset. Tell him to
So-
go back to the tortilla fields.
I'm
What?
staying a little longer in town, and we're gonna get this guy doing jujitsu.
Oh, God.
oh, I thought you were going to
We're
say
gonna-
you were going to get him laid for a second there.
Oh, no, I don't have any problem with that shit.
Oh, hi-oh.
All right, let's read it or finish reading this. Where was I? Instead, this acronym likely conjures pageant of spaceships, lightsabers, and blaster wielding stormtroopers. Even if we set aside the four cautions above, the acronym Jedi still evokes imagery that diverts attention away from the meanings of justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Can I say that one more fucking time, please? I get to say it again in the next sentence. Yay!
Well, we got to drill it into everyone's heads because
I know.
of
Well,
brainwashing. That's
like I
how
said,
it works.
it's in the next sentence after this one, so just wait. Such distractions exacerbates existing problems and challenges endemic to institutional justice work. For instance, it is already the case that institutional context terms like justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion are routinely underdefined or conflated, robbed of their specificities,
Yes.
and differences. These terms are related abbreviations like DEI can thus come to be treated as institutional buzzwords that are more slogan than substance. Signaling commitments.
Substance to any of this shit.
Yeah, right. That's why I was giggling. Commitments that institutions fail to meaningfully honor. We must be more attentive to the meanings and particularities.
Stop talking. I can't take
These
anymore.
words are too fucking big. Of our words, not less. I know. I could probably read them if I was trying.
Hit
harder.
with hammer.
Not less. Jedi does not help us with this. Now is not the time to confuse social justice with science fiction. Importantly, the
Wait a minute. Then why is this article in the Scientific American?
I don't know exactly. That's just to cover that question, just in case you were to answer
I wish
it.
I knew. Importantly, the acronym JEDI represents an extreme variant of a more general challenge associated with abbreviations. Acronyms are useful for quickly and concisely representing dense concepts, but there's a thin line between indexing ideas and rendering them invisible. And we must be careful not to lose sight of what our abbreviations stand for. Put simply,
well, there's so fucking many of them.
Put simply, the baggage of
Oh my
Jedi and
God.
Star Wars is too heavy to burden our justice-oriented initiatives with and may actually undermine these efforts. If we feel that we need to have an abbreviation for labeling our commitments to diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, several alternatives are already available to us, including abbreviations DIGE or DIGE. The additional dangers are disturbing. This is why
someone replace that with dirge and just play me a
I'm going to tell you right now, right here, buddy, this is why they picked Jedi. It's not rocket science.
Hello, welcome to Buttfuckers. May I take your order, please?
Look, I'm going to be the guy that's going to say this. They looked at it and like, what are we going to do with this? Dige? Look, it's Jedi. Just make it Jedi.
Dige?
Exactly. DJI?
Then the next person was like, oh, they're going to hate that.
I'm sorry. I get it. I get why they got there, but you're 10 years too late or whatever. Who gives a fuck? While we focused our critical attention on the term Jedi, the cautions above provide us with a list of questions to bring any effort or label our justice-oriented initiatives. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Who gives a fucking shit?
Dude, these people got
Let's see who the authors are.
These people got more abbreviations than they got letters in the alphabet.
We got J.W. Hammond, who is a postdoctoral researcher in the School of Education at the University of Michigan, where he researches and teaches about rhetoric, writing, and racial justice.
So he teaches propaganda.
Yeah.
Yes.
His current scholarship centers on educational assessment history.
Oh my God.
Theory and technology, as well as the ethical, political, and rhetorical dimensions of research access and use. A nearly lifelong Star Wars nerd, he believes that science fiction shapes our ethical horizons and sense of scientific possibility in ways good and bad, big and small.
Clearly not a nerd because he didn't get the message of Star Wars.
Has anyone ever thought about taking
You mean can we replace lifelong nerd or almost lifelong nerd with lifelong almost no, not almost lifelong idiot?
I think they should put him in Guantanamo Bay. I'm just going to go there.
Diego Flores, thank you so much. Sends in 5. Peruvian Soul says D-I-J-E or D, if I'm saying it right, would have been better because it would be a pun of I told you in Spanish, perfect for these Wokoso know-it-alls.
Daiji, yeah?
Daiji? Is that how you say it? How do you say it, Mike?
Yeah, but they always say they like Mexicans. They don't know anything about it. About
Mexicans. Wokoso know-it-alls. Dije.
Dije?
Dije.
D.
Oh, there you go.
Say D as in D-E-E. Say D.
Je.
Je. Perfect. Beautiful.
Dije.
Perfect.
Named Naked Fame says, so Aurelo found a thesaurus and a job at America. Basically.
Well, they found an app of this. They don't actually have one. I have like 3 of them bitches. I just don't read them.
Cheeks can do stuff now. Did I miss your super chat, Naked Fame? Did I miss one?
Oh, we just did Naked Fames.
I did. Yeah. And we got the NYC one. Paulie read that one. I don't see any other ones in here, Naked Fame. If I did miss any more, let me know. Just repost it. Don't send another one. Just repost it.
More cult members.
Yeah. So anyway, who else wrote this? Let's see.
Keep going. It gets better.
Oh, we got Eric Winberg. We got to give him something.
Yes.
He did his membership to Viking.
And let's see. I'm going to give him an Oscar-winning puppy.
Yeah.
You like that, I win the Oscar?
I like that puppy because he never stops wagging his tail. He doesn't understand that part.
And Naked Fame, we got it. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna stop reading this. We're done reading it. Now I'm just gonna read who wrote it. Then we had Sarah E. Brownell. She is a discipline-based education researcher and professor in the School of Life at Arizona. Oh, I should have said she. I knew it. Arizona State University, who studies how we can create more inclusive undergraduate biology learning environments, particularly for women, religious students, community college transfer students, and LGBTQ plus students. You
How
can
is that a
follow her
job?
on Twitter at Brownell Sarah. Why would I want to?
How is that a job? That's
It is not a job. That is an excuse.
It's
to
not even like
fucking
it's for the
take
whole school. It's for
space
biology classes or something.
and steal precious air.
Does that mean they got one of these idiots for every department?
Yes. Nita A.
Oh,
Kenharness earned her MA in educational leadership and policy from the University of Michigan. She is a project manager for Sloan Equity and Inclusion in STEM introductory courses, collaboration, coordinating multi-institutional and multidisciplinary research and teaching projects focused on making introductory STEM courses more. In other words, you don't do anything.
At best, she translates what STEM means to normies, but doesn't do that properly in her own bio.
You don't do anything. You're like, I feel like I'm in Office Space right now. Like, what is it that you exactly do here?
She's a layer of wokeness to make sure that.
What was that one? A Xerox supply engineer, and it was like the guy who reloaded the paper. That episode.
No. Office Space, not off the office. Where they're like, he's like, I take the orders from the customers and I take them down to the what do you call it? I can't remember what he says, but he's like, so you physically take the orders from the people? No, I have a secretary that does that. So then you take the orders down to the whatever group it was. And he's like, no. Well, not exactly. Sometimes. So it's like, what would you actually say that you do here, Tom? I do important things.
What is wrong with you people?
What is wrong? Yeah, exactly. What is wrong with you? This guy, this scene right here. One of my favorite scenes in the fucking movie. Where is it? I got the clip. See, I'm all out discombobulated because I'm on my MEAD brain, and I got my Midnight's Edge main channel shit here. So I should have that.
I hate when you're scrolling up and down and you're like the joke's gone by and you're like, now I found it. Fucking
yeah,
playing it anyway.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah. Yeah, that guy. That scene. That specific scene. That's Nita. Susan J. Cheng is a forest ecologist and an instructional consultant specializing in data analytics, assessment, and introduction of undergraduate courses. She earned her PhD.
What the fuck does that have to do with the forest?
Hold on, there's more.
She thought they said the forest, but they actually said the force. See, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, it's about to get better. Keep going, Tom.
I'm gonna have to meditate after this.
You medicate all day long. What are you talking about?
She earned her PhD at the University of Michigan. A lot of these guys are from Michigan, I noticed too.
Michigan and Arizona.
Yeah, leads research.
Maybe they need another Prestigio fire.
Into two intertwined strands of scholarship, understanding how ecology shapes Earth's climate, okay, and how classroom climate shapes student learning. She is on an advisory board for 500 women scientists and serves on the American Geological Union's Education Section Committee. You can follow her on Twitter. Good.
Wait, does the classroom climate thing mean like she repairs air conditioning units so it doesn't get too hot?
Maybe.
That
would be actually
you actually have to trust them.
You got to actually go to a real school for that. W. Carson Bird says is a
so fake scientists. Yeah,
is a socialist focused on intersections of race and racism. Oh, here's the winner. Higher education and scientific and knowledge production. He is a senior fellow in residence at the Center for Institutional Diversity and at the University of Michigan.
For teaching racism?
I guess. He was
they created a department so he could have a job.
Exactly. He was selected as a member of the 2021 cohort of William G.
You gotta have some balls to go into that job. Say, oh, hi, I want to teach racism.
Advanced quantitative and computational scholars for the Institute in Critical Quantitative Compute. They said the same thing twice.
Hold on, let me say it like as if it were
what
important.
The fuck?
I'm gonna do it for you in case it's important. Here we go. Me. Okay. W. Carson Bird was selected as a member of the 2021 cohort of William T. Grant Advanced Quantitative and Computational Scholars for the Institute in Critical, Quantitative, Computational, and Mixed Methodologies. The fuck did I just say?
He talks in circles. That's what
it's like basically saying I became a doctor at the School of Doctors.
No, hold on.
It's like Dave Chappelle in Half Baked. He's like,
wait, I got it.
Custodial engineer.
This is like Jesse saying, Jesse, I am the maker of the tacos of the taco with the meat of the taco with the tortilla of the taco.
Taco.
Yeah.
Taco sauce.
I'm with Rob Altus. I'm not Rob.
So much racing, no mention of NASCAR.
I'm sick of hearing this word too, Rob. Rob Altus. I'm so sick of this crap.
I heard all this race stuff, and I ain't heard nothing about Dale Jr. Fuck
I
this
agree
show.
with this article. They shouldn't use Jedi. End of discussion. Come up with something better.
That Dr. Dre does have more credibility.
All quantitative means is bullshit.
I'd rather go to Dr. Zoidberg.
You can't just put quantum in front of something.
That's true, but quantitative is different. They don't even. It's. Oh,
I know it's not the same. Oh Lordy Almighty! This is just some nuts.
It's just a fancy way of saying you can measure it.
Yeah, let me check the PayPal. I think we are caught up on super chats for now, and we're caught up on the PayPal, so we're good there. Was there anything else going on? Anybody wanted to talk about?
Well, Nikki D brought up that the merger.
Oh yes, that's right.
Get back to that.
Yes, because I wanted you here for that too. Nikki D said, "Let's go back to that."
I've got an opinion, but I don't know if it's an informed one. It's just as a fan.
No, I really wanted script here because he knows where I think this is going. What are the ramifications of the CAA and ICM merger? It's ICM, right?
Yes.
ICM merger to the film industry. Will the quality of films be adversely affected? Now, what Nikki is talking about here is recently CAA, which one of its founders, right, is Brian Lord?
Yes, Brian Lord is one of the 3 co-founders of the agency.
Yes, so they're merging with this other big company, and Brian Lord most famously recently, outside of being the father to Carrie Fisher's daughter, was the one out in the papers blasting Disney over the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit because he is her agent. And then last week we had Ari Emanuel, who most of you may know better as Ari Gold on Entourage. His character is based off of him. Came in from I keep forgetting the name of this company. What is
from
it?
Endeavor, and he bought William Morris.
And yeah, so continue from their script. Go ahead.
So yeah, he formed what's now known as William Morris Endeavor, which is also the first talent agency that has gone public. So you can be a stockholder investor. They deal with actors, writers, sportscasters, and books as well, I believe. So they're technically like the #1 agency in town, and then CAA has been kind of #2 for the last few years. I think at least since 2016. And what CAA has done recently is they have made a bid to purchase and merge ICM into their company, and ICM deals with writers, novelist, authors, and sports talent as well. So then CAA would then have the same demographic of people that they would represent as does William Morris Endeavor, and therefore get a stronger foothold within the talent agency industry, while at the same time limiting the amount of other agencies that are able to compete against them, because you now have these 2 giant powerhouses with UTA kind of caught in the middle, representing the majority of people that work in the industry. And when you have basically only 3 real options that can never get an audience with the studios and other producers, it makes things kind of difficult to form together really potentially great teams to create a new property franchise or steward a new property or franchise into a high profit, high entertainment entity.
So yeah, I don't know about how. I mean, this is something we did talk about before, that if they couldn't get us to pay for things, they were gonna find other ways to make productions go down. So yeah, I do feel like it will have an effect.
Sounds like further unionization.
Well, I'll build a little bit off of what Cameron Pasha said yesterday, because he was really accurate on this. So there was a WGA strike that happened in 2019 and went well into 2020. And it was basically the fact that there were some players within the big three agencies and a lot of them the medium tier and low tier agencies that were doing what's called packaging. And normally packaging is just basically the agent foregoes their 10% commission and takes a little bit of a percent of the actual production budget because they have multiple clients of theirs involved in that production. The biggest issue of contention was the fact that a lot of agents were actually double dipping, and some of them were putting themselves in position as a producer, thus being the boss of the talent, and at the same time negotiating with themselves for the rates that they wish to pay. It was really, there was that aspect of it, and then the third one, the one that was the biggest kicker, was that some of them were also taking their commission on top of that. So instead of foregoing their commission, they were taking their commission, their 10%, and they were taking whatever percentage of the production budget it was as well, and then negotiating with themselves for the rates of their clients within their very own production that they have now injected themselves in. And I've lost 2 shows for this, and as a result, because my representation did not try to convince me that this is the way things are normally done, which they are not. I basically just terminated them, and that was in late November of 2018, so before this thing kind of escalated into the strike. And what ended up happening is that as other writers and some other talent, some actors, not many, but some, got wind of this behavior, instead of going after the specific agents that were kind of doing that, and some of them were really high up in their agencies, they decided to have what I would think is kind of not the best strategy, but basically say to everyone within the union, fire your agents and work for yourselves because they're stealing money from you. And that was actually really controversial because there were a lot of agents and managers in town that weren't doing it in the way I described, like double dipping and being the boss of their clients. But as a result, everyone had to do that, or else they would be, ejected from the union. So, and then they wouldn't have their health benefits. They wouldn't have anyone fighting for their residuals and whatnot. So it was a big controversial kerfuffle. I don't think it was the best approach. I think it should have been done where the WGA said, I mean, pretty much if your agent is doing this and it's inhibiting you from getting work, or if it's hurting you financially, you can terminate them and we'll have your back and we'll help you find new representation that doesn't do that. That probably would have been a better thing to do. But again, hindsight is 2020. And at the same time, a lot of the people who are pushing this in the WGA just weren't thinking long-term down the road. As a result, yes, a lot of other writers terminated their contracts with their agents, dropped them. And as a result, a lot of agencies, usually on the mid to and smaller tier level, lost a lot of clients. And as a result, they didn't have enough people to represent to get work for, and then they were hemorrhaging money with their expenses. And ICM was one of those. And as a result, now that things kind of have gotten back into order, they've renegotiated new terms for what packaging is, or at least put down in writing with far more detail what packaging is, and the new plan that's going to be going ahead, I think, in 2024 for what packaging will be. Some agencies have fallen away and are going to be non-existent in a few years. And as a result, CAA has used a predatory action to buy ICM to make themselves more powerful and limit the amount of options that writers are going to have for representation. And whenever there's a merger, there's also going to be layoffs and also dropping of clients. So what I suspect, and Cameron has said this as well, and I agree with him on this, as I suspect a lot of writers that aren't able to get as much work on the frequency that some other writers get are going to be dropped. Agents that aren't going to be able to hustle at the same level as required by their other cohorts are also going to be dropped. And a lot of people are going to be struggling for representation and work. And at the same time, I think a lot of new smaller agencies are going to come out as a result of this, and they're going to have a very difficult time competing because it's a new company. Studios aren't really going to recognize the new company. They might recognize some of the agents working or who have formed that company, but it's going to be a very uphill battle for them to compete against titans like CAA and WME at this point. And at the same time, because they're going to have such influence with their talent, they'll probably be able to negotiate newer type of deals with the studios that could change the way writers are able to new writers are able to enter the system and get out their stories. It's going to be a very, very dicey few years as a result of this. And it's actually going to be probably going to be spreading off into the actor side of agencies, into the directors side of things, and the PGA, the Producers Guild.
Really, you think even the producers will get in on this?
Well, yeah, the producers are currently backing some of this stuff as well, but I think when one area of the talent is negotiating new contracts and they get a deal, especially with regards to streaming and the new technology, all the others are eventually going to have to take a look at that deal, see if it's in their best interest to renegotiate and work on that way. And this would be this was like the third time I think the WGA has brought in issues with regards to streaming and proper royalties with streaming.
I just don't think this was the group of people to handle a new form of media like streaming. It's like throw this one back and catch his daddy.
And then at the same time, there's also the IATSE, which is the union guys, the people who actually make sure that what is written gets physically translated from the paper to the screen. And they're undergoing negotiations as well for streaming and also for consistency of work, because again, some of the new models, you only work for a shorter window of time for a show that airs over the course of, say, multiple months, but it's not a week-to-week basis as it is on network television. It's basically condensed and smaller and also with less pay, and that's also a big issue.
So let me ask you this question, because I've always regarded, I mentioned this on the last time we live streamed together, that if I were to start a studio, to me, the most important people in the equation that I want are great writers. And that's nothing against actors or directors or production people, but to me, that would be my treasure chest if I'm going to be moving forward. I want great writers, great people with new ideas, all that stuff. So with this move happening then, is essentially the directors, the producers are becoming or making themselves the writers, and the actual people with fresh new ideas and actually technical skill, then is what we're going to lose? Is that what might happen?
That's a good question. I do know that with the streaming side of things, directors have been getting more of an influential role with that.
I've been noticing on different streaming, like some of the producers or directors are also listed as writers, and that seems to stand out more to me now in the last 2 years than I ever remember seeing that like 10 or 15, 20 years
ago. Just like when Bill O'Reilly went nuts. He said, screw the script. I'll do it live. I'll write it myself. I'll do it live. That's what...
There was that issue. Well, during the writers' strike in 2007, I think it was. Again, the directors, actors, and crew had to fill up the daytime or the prime time slots that were like just shows that were live recorded. So your late night talk show hosts and things of that nature. Instead of them being written with a structure, it was almost like an improv at that point.
Throw it to the wall, see if it sticks. Just fill up the time. Next one.
And then the same with reality TV. The directors can make the notes of what they want to do within that episode or that shooting schedule and create the narrative that way, as opposed to writers coming in and formulating something a bit more structured. So yeah, it does have a ripple effect. And ideally for the last 100 years, all studios would really talk about is how you need the best scripts and whatnot, but they would always not really acknowledge the writers behind it. In some cases, it was for political reasons, which like during the Red Scare in the late 30s or 40s, and then subsequently in the 50s. And then it also became really director dominated. During the revolution of the blockbuster in the late 60s and 70s and so forth, you talked about the director more than you talked about the writer, and then you get the blockbuster star, which was mostly in the 80s and 90s. So what becomes prevalent keeps shifting across the creating side of things. So ideally, the writers haven't really gotten their spotlight on that, and I don't think many of them really care, because again, we're writers. We just care about doing the work, getting our pay, making sure we can pay for our bills and continue to write.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are not very good at public speaking or even promoting things on a talk show. So we like to stay in the background sort of stuff. So we would let,
Yeah, but the resume then speaks for itself. And just like Mike was saying, I mean, if you start a production studio, like let's say you're doing animation or live action, If you're doing animation, you want to have your writing first, and you want to have your artists. If you're doing live action, then you want to have your writers first, and you want to have your costume and set people, because that's what people are going to see the entire time.
The IATSE crew is the people who would be making the sets, lighting it, working in the whole union aspects, making it something you can actually shoot, because it has to be there.
Working in Hollywood, if you didn't have a script, why are any of you showing up for work that day? And they don't put enough effort into the script? It doesn't make sense.
It's not even for a lack of wanting to have effort. It's usually just everything is schedule and time is money. So if they like the concept of the idea and they purchase the rights to do that, and they say, well, okay, we've already spent some money that's not technically ours, it's from a bank or it's from a lender, we have X amount of weeks to get the script in good enough conditions so that we can start shooting it. So at least we can say we started shooting it. And that's not usually the best mentality.
Yeah, but is the schedule set up terribly different than it was 30, 40 years ago?
The schedule's been kind of nightmarish. Schedules have been kind of nightmarish ever since the start of this. What usually ends up happening is you get what's called lightning in a bottle. You have a really great team that knows how to work well together and deliver good stuff within the time that they have allotted.
Yeah, and those people get called back.
Yeah, with regards to the industry these days, there is a big gap, educational-wise, I would argue. One of the most notorious things out there right now is, so the majority of people who are currently writing the show of The Simpsons, they grew up watching The Simpsons. They never read any of the stories.
They can't make references that aren't from The Simpsons.
Exactly. They're kind of too close to it.
Yeah. And it's always a lease episode because they're all a bunch of pussies.
Well, there was a follow-up to this, actually. Nikki D sent, I hope she's still here, sent to the PayPal. Says, if by some miracle Disney actually loses their legal dispute with the estate owners, what will happen to the characters?
Well, either Disney won't use them anymore in their future Marvel products, and they'll use the other ones, or they'll start negotiating licensing with the estate holders.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think licensing
with the
estate holders is better. Yeah.
It'll be like, give me $1 million.
Well, yeah, it also make them reevaluate the budgets of what they're going to be using those characters for at the same time. So, and this is the other double-edged sword when it comes to studios, and why they try to hide as much money as they can, but at the same time broadcast that they've made $1 billion on a movie, because if they make $1 billion on the movie and it's something that they license out, they're going to have to owe the license owner a bigger percentage of the film, or of the profits of that. And that
wouldn't they have to do that anyway, though?
If they own the film rights outright, as opposed to licensing them, then they just keep whatever they have, because they purchased the license for it on that type. So it depends also what you negotiate too. In this case here, a lot of the creators of the characters that Marvel is using have passed away. So it's up to their estate, if their estate still retains the ownership of those creators. And right now Disney is actually suing, or sorry, maybe Marvel was more accurate. Marvel is suing those creators' estates to get ahead of having to renegotiate any type of licensing issues if those creators, the estates of those creators, manage to retain those initial character rights. So they're just trying to get out ahead of it.
Everything is so dirty in Hollywood and properties.
Professor Gray asks, Hollywood's killing itself, so what takes its place? Well, I think you're looking at it.
Well, the alternative. Yeah,
YouTube. Otherwise, it'll reinvigorate itself. It's just going to take time. This is not the first time we've had to the point where Hollywood's gone to the brink.
Yeah, the successful alternative always becomes the mainstream.
I mean,
because
it started.
They can afford to. I mean,
and then it becomes the problem.
It came to the brink during the Depression and World War II and shit like that, and then we had other times like in the late 50s and 60s where it started getting really bad, and that's when they started selling out to all the beverage companies and other companies like Gulf and Western and stuff like that. Paramount did and certain things, and then we had, it's just going to take some time. Hollywood will never go away per se, but who runs it and who's doing what may change.
I would say the infrastructure does morph with every big generation, but again, it's designed to absorb what is successful and then push that out. And the thing is, the way you can actually keep the business flowing strongly is to constantly seek out things that are awesome and successful and push them and promote them with like a responsible means of marketing and infrastructure, and also being able to have a good relationship with your audience at the same time. Right. And that has never been hit exactly at all, because again, you can go to any decade and take a look at all the best movies of that time, and then all the other movies that you probably never heard of. There's a reason why you might not have heard of them. They're either terrible or they didn't have the best backing to get their message, the product out to the audience, and then become cult classics.
All right, and I got another PayPal, but I don't want to dox this person, so I'm not going to say their name. If they want to take credit for it in the chat, they can feel free to, but I have no idea who it would be by their handle anyway, because they didn't put their handle in there from what I can tell. But the question is, do the Craig Bond films fit this structure? Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace take place before all the other 007 adventures. Skyfall shows him sometime after all those other adventures, when he's now too old for the job. Spectre crops up towards his last days on the job, and now this new one takes place after all those other ventures. Or perhaps the inclusion of Spectre towards the end of Craig's Bond career, and Spectre bungles this whole scheme. Now, I've not seen these movies, so I'm going to rely on like the rest of the boys here to answer this question. I just know how this all comes to an end. So yeah,
I think we should have a
on
James Bond 007 review after I see the movie next Thursday, because let's just put that on the agenda for next Thursday, because I'm going to see it next Thursday.
Well, the question posted though is, I believe anyway, does the inclusion of Spectre towards the end of Craig's Bond career in Spectre bungle the whole scheme of what he just said? Basically, Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace being prequels to the other films, and then the other films afterwards being sequels. Yes, Sadie, I know you have to go out, and that's why I'm going to let the boys handle the Bond question. I'll be right back.
So what he's getting, so what that super check gets at, and those of us who are Bond fanatics, is one of the big reasons. Jesse didn't mention it, but it's one of the big reasons why a lot of Bond fans have problems with this movie, because what they did is they jumped around the universe. In a sense, there's an argument to be made that what they've done with the Daniel Craig's iteration of 007 is they've almost created another timeline. And that timeline of how they tell these stories, from what they're grabbing from the different books and stuff like that, it's really not, it's completely incongruous with what one would regard as what the Bond timeline really is. If you look at it from an integrity,
what he's talking about.
Let me finish, Jesse. Jesse, let me finish, and then you can go. Is that if you start with the books and then you start with the movies, you have a certain timeline, and there's an integrity to the timeline. Yes, there are different actors that played Bond. Yes, there's different people that you may or may not like. One of the quote Bond movies isn't even regarded quote as a Bond movie. That being said, with Daniel Craig and all of the movies that he's in, there's so much picking and pulling from different storylines. They basically, in essence, have created another. It's very much like what happened with JJ with 2009 Star Trek and the Kelvin universe. It's like another timeline. And so it's really hard, even if you get beyond appreciating Daniel Craig as Bond, it's really hard to like embrace it if you've been a long time original Bond fan, because it's coming out of nowhere the way that these movies have been slapped together. And unfortunately, they've grabbed a lot of iconic scenes and storylines, and they spread it out over 15 years. Because if you look at it, we haven't got that many. If you look at Bonds when it originally started and how many Bond movies we got and the pace we were going, all of a sudden now you've had Daniel Craig. Now he's been Bond for what now, 15, 17 years, give or take, maybe longer, something like that, from being selected to actually this movie released this month. And what you have is that they have they're basically covering 2 decades, but they've got a spoiled timeline. Go, Jesse.
Yeah, and in the 1960s, they were every 2 years you'd have a Bond movie. But basically, Spectre, the reason that people have a problem with the whole thing is because of Spectre itself. In the new Bond movies, it was like one single organization, where in the original James Bond movies from the 60s, it was the only overlying thing with bad guys. It was like, the shadow organization. But they all had numbers, right? They didn't refer to each other by name. They had numbers. So they'd all report back, but they'd all be like different, big, large group leaders that would all report to Bloomfield, who had the cat, but they never showed him until like 2 movies in or something. I don't remember.
Till you only lived twice, right? Yeah. Or Majesty's Secret Service, and then you only lived twice.
Yeah, and then like now they just bring it in as this passive thing, and it just didn't sit right, because it was stupid. Because it was like, has this organization stayed active this entire time? Are you going to maybe explain anything about why you're using that name, or did he just pick that name again? Like, this has nothing to do with Spectre. That was my problem. I didn't like it. It's just I don't like anything about those movies, really. The only funny part was when he hit him in the balls with that thing.
Well, that's from the book too. But one thing that kind of threw me off, especially after we got past A Quantum of Solace, was that it appeared that the intention of the Craig Bond films was that each of those films would be threaded through in the pantheon of the James Bond series overall, which kind of throws off because the entire tone and directing style of Daniel Craig's Bond films is more on the Jason Bourne, more contemporary side of things. It doesn't have that kind of timeless aspect, which is interesting because even though across all the other Bond actors, there was a sense of familiarity to the entire world and presentation of Bond, but that changed dramatically with Daniel Craig's and also Campbell's interpretation of the character.
Yeah, you're right. It's modernist, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right on the money with that because it dates as much as the movies from the 60s and 70s are quote unquote dated. That's because of the suits. It's because of the cars.
And the way the technology is presented, but at the same time, it's like it's not so much about the technology; it's about the intention of what the adversary is doing. And
even in the new movies, it's like the lack thereof technology. It's like where's like cool gizmos? You have like all this like shit.
Well, the gizmos didn't start to take place until the Roger Moore era, but at the same time, whatever was presented in the Connery stories were very
Connery had a jetpack.
He did. He had a jetpack, and his Aston Martin had a whole bunch of gimmicks and stuff on it. Those didn't come until after Dr. No. But yeah, absolutely, they are like he had them, but they got more elaborate in later iterations. And at the same time, the thing is that they were very careful with. I think it was Pierce Brosnan right with Tomorrow Never Dies, actually, where they kind of got, that's like the first sign where they're kind of just doing this for the set piece as opposed to the service of the plot and the characters' goals. Because everything was about that remote controlled car in Tomorrow Never Dies. I remember like they held what was it, 11 to 12 minute set piece just on that car alone.
Well, they also made a big point of putting it out in the movie in the lines that it was an Aston Martin Vanquish because they needed to sell that $500,000 car. And he was like, I call it a Vanish.
All right. Well, hopefully that answers the question. Deranged Lunatics asks, Jesse, are you going to play Fox Mulder tonight? And
I hope not.
I
don't think I sound like Fox Mulder.
I don't think I do.
Scully.
Oh, Scully's?
Scully. Hey, Scully.
I don't know.
How you doing?
I don't know if I'm even going to make it, but I'll try.
Yeah, I knocked it back to 10:30.
I saw that. Yeah,
9:30, and
I got to eat some supper.
Right out who's who.
But no, I just shared the link for that in the chat, so you guys can park up to that. Jesse's going to be doing a script reading of it's an unproduced X-Files episode, correct?
Yes, it's called Flight 180, and it was later made into the movie Final Destination. So I'm hoping that it's kind of like Final Destination with Mulder. Can't go wrong there. But it is hour-long episode length, so it's like half as long as a normal script, so it won't be that long.
I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of X-Files. All I can remember is Mulder kind of sounds like this. I don't know.
Well, Mulder, he was a sex line addict.
Yeah, I know.
He had a lot of issues.
Yeah, I know.
They all knew who he was when he called up.
There you go, script doctor. You should play David Duchovny.
Get into the psyche. He's like, fucking.
Oh, wait. The only way script doctor should play him. Script, you need to take your shirt off. You need to take your shirt off when you do it.
That's California.
Oh, you mean like this? Do I have to take my shirt off like
fuck?
this?
What? Do that? Oh my God! How the hell did you do that?
Because he's good at it.
That was weird. Sexy doctor.
Hey Jesse, whoa! Keep your lightsaber in your pants, buddy.
You're the one waving it around.
What?
Hey.
With your phallic symbols, you misogynist.
That's me, baby.
All right. So head on over to Jesse's channel to check that out. I'm going to share that one more time in the chat just so everybody has it. It's right there. Boom.
And you could laugh at us when we screw up because we are going to screw up. It's not going to be as tight of a reading or as produced. We're just going to do the read. Have fun with it.
Nick and Fame asks, now I have questions like, why was he prepared for that?
Because he's the sexy script doctor. You need music. To go
Bryant
along
Barth
with
wants
now.
to know our best Bond. I'm just going to go with Sean Connery. How about you guys?
Well, it's not fair if you count Connery.
I really like George. I really like George Lazenby and Roger Moore after Connery.
I obviously have to go with Connery number one, but if I was to pick a secondary Bond, it would actually be Timothy Dalton. But
Timothy Dalton was pretty good too.
I liked
him. He only had 2
Dalton.
movies.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, but I liked him.
He was a good
Mike?
Bond. He was young. He was fit. He had the look.
He knew how to do the charm.
There was that redhead with the great rack and Wayne Newton. And now he's on Doom Patrol.
Chose Woody Allen. What about you? What about you, Mike?
I like Pierce Brosnan after Sean Connery.
All right, there you go.
GoldenEye is like one of the best Bond movies. I mean, come on, dude.
It's really solid, yeah.
It's got Trevlin. Him going against Trevlin, his equal. That was awesome. The sets, the Russian guy, the Xena on top. That was a tight-ass movie.
So with that, I want to say check out Script Doctor's channel. Check out Mike in the many places that he roams around and produces.
Just follow me on Twitter, and I'll tell you guys where I'm at.
Check out Jesse at the Crow's Nest. There's the link to the show here again, once again, here coming up in a little bit, where you can watch the crew reading the unproduced script for X-Files that became Final Destination. There you go. Other than that, I don't think we missed any super chats, so we're good there. I'm going to double check the PayPal side of things, and we should be good to go for the evening, I believe. Yeah, we're good to go. All right, so check out the script reading, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on Midnight's Edge in the morning, where I believe we have Critical Drinker, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be fun. So yeah, with that, take care of yourselves and have an excellent evening.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter.